Chapter 1424. The sky was dark, blood-red, and had a pungent smell. This was the battlefield from before. At this moment, there were still remnants of violent energy and inextinguishable sword intent in the air. The entire scene was like an Azura hell. Whoosh. However, at this moment, a black light flew over at an extremely fast speed from afar. Behind him were large amounts of air waves and boundless black flames. Whoosh. In the next instant, the black light figure arrived near the sky. This figure was tall, at least 3 meters tall. He wore a black robe with a fierce black dragon drawn on it. This was the Black Dragon Hierarch. His expression was cold, and his cold eyes quickly scanned the surroundings. When he saw the scene in front of him, his face immediately turned gloomy, and the black flames on his body burned rapidly. Where are they? The Black Dragon Hierarch did not care about the dead Black Dragon Hierarch. Instead, he quickly searched for Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. However, after searching around, he did not find them. Impossible! Didn't they say that those people were trapped by the omnidirectional ceiling formation? How could they be gone? The Black Dragon Hierarch frowned, but in the next moment, he noticed something strange in front of him. This is omnidirectional ceiling formation. It was actually broken. How is this possible? His eyes were like lightning as he carefully looked ahead. There were traces of the formation being broken, but the entire formation had long disappeared. The Black Dragon Hierarch naturally knew what this meant. It meant that the other party had broken the formation. But this shouldn't be. This formation was formed by his Black Dragon Flame. Those below the king level could not break it. How did the other party do it? Could it be because of the Great Dragon Sword Soul? Thinking of this, the Black Dragon Hierarch's expression changed. He was very angry that the other party had escaped, but there was also a trace of joy in his heart. This time, he had finally seen the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Even such a powerful formation could be broken by the Great Dragon Sword Soul. If he obtained it, his strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. As expected of an offensive Saint Art, its combat power was indeed shocking. Kid, you're just a small mortal. You don't deserve to have the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Only I can unleash the true strength of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Black Dragon Hierarch snorted, then turned around and left quickly. Looking at the direction he was heading, he should be heading to the Demon Abyss. He knew that the last time he saw Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon was in the Demon Abyss. This person had entered the Demon Abyss and yet was able to come out alive. This meant that this person must have grasped some secret that he didn't know about. That was why he was sure that the other party had gone to the Devil Abyss this time. That was because the Devil Abyss contained subdivine crystals that could even tempt kings. That's good too. When I kill you all, not only will I obtain the Great Dragon Sword Soul, but I will also obtain the subdivinity crystal. This is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Brat, wash your neck and wait for me. The Black Dragon religious leader laughed nastily and instantly disappeared. On the other side, Lin Xian, Murong Qingcheng, and the other members of the Lin family entered the Black Earth. When they saw the corpses of the invincible kings and the substandard divine crystals on the ground, their jaws dropped and they were stunned. Heavens, who are these people? Their auras are too terrifying. Old Master Lin's beard curled up. Yeah. Second Uncle Lin also sighed. The auras of these people far surpassed that of the Black Dragon Sect's leader. It could be said that these were the true peerless experts. However, such a powerful person had actually been killed. This was simply too mystical and strange. Murong Qingcheng was especially shocked. One had to know that he had seen many kings, but none of them could compare to the corpses of the kings here. Not to mention the Black Dragon religious leader. Even all the kings in the Tianwu continent combined couldn't compare to this aura. Just who are these people? Are they still kings? Murong Qingqing's heart trembled. They are invincible kings. Lin Xian gave a simple introduction. Then, everyone learned about invincible kings, the 9 realms, and the true spirit world. After that, they were extremely shocked. To be honest, they had never heard of this information before. Old Master Lin and the others had always thought that the Tianan region was the entire world. However, they didn't expect that the Tianwu continent would appear, and now the true spirit world would appear. That was the real big world, and the Tianan region and the Tianwu continent that they were in were just 2 islands. One had to admit that the impact was too great. Murong Qingqing's beautiful eyes blinked. She knew more than Old Master Lin and the others. She knew that there was an even bigger world outside the Tianwu continent. However, she didn't expect that world to be so mysterious and their continent to be so small. Moreover, the legend of the great emperor had shocked her even more. Moreover, when she saw the subdivine crystals on the ground, she was even more shocked. Originally, she thought that if she obtained a subdivine crystal and used it when she entered the king realm, it would be very heaven-defying. However, she didn't expect that there would be so many of them here. Everyone felt that their heads were about to explode. Although the subdivine crystal is magical, it's better not to use it unless it's a king crystal, Lin Xian said solemnly. However, he was different from the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon was originally a king, and this time it was just recovering its strength. However, Lin Xian absorbed the energy of the subdivine crystal and gave it to the great dragon sword spirit. His body didn't absorb it. Therefore, it didn't affect him from becoming a king. However, others couldn't use it easily. Fortunately, He too didn't only have the subdivine crystal, he also had other heavenly treasures. Although there weren't many, they were all top-notch. After making arrangements for Old Master Lin and the others, Lin Xian started to think about what to do next. The first was martial arts. Since he already knew the 9 realms, he would continue to walk on the path of martial arts. His goal was to become a great emperor. The second was to solve the problem in the Tianan region. As long as he got rid of the Black Dragon sect leader and uprooted the Black Dragon sect, the Tianan region would regain its peace. However, Lin Xian had already decided that even if he got rid of the Black Dragon sect, he wouldn't immediately bring the Lin family members to the Tianwu continent, because there was still a powerful enemy in the Tianwu continent, the Duan family. Therefore, he would wait until he got rid of the Duan family before bringing Old Master Lin and the others to the Tianwu continent. At that time, his father would probably come out of seclusion and the family would be reunited. After that, he would leave the Tianwu continent and go to the real great world. However, he still lacked the energy to activate the Black Earth. This was also one of the things that gave him a headache. Forget it. The most important thing now is to increase my strength and get rid of the Black Dragon sect leader first. Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes and started to absorb the subdivine crystal once again. In his body, the great dragon sword spirit quickly swam around and crazily absorbed the energy of the subdivine crystal in order to awaken. This absorption took another half a year. During this period, the subdivine crystal on the ground decreased rapidly. The Crimson Dragon had a pained expression. F***CK. Damn brat, it's almost used up. The situation is indeed unexpected. I didn't expect the great dragon sword spirit to have so much energy after entering the king realm. He too floated in the air and said in a deep voice. Chapter 14:25. Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes and absorbed the subdivine crystals once more. The great dragon sword soul quickly swam within his body and absorbed the energy of the subdivine crystals in order to awaken. This absorption process took another half a year. During this time, the amount of subdivine crystals on the ground decreased rapidly. The Crimson Dragon had a pained expression. F***CK. That damned brat. It's almost all used up. The situation is truly unexpected. I didn't expect the great dragon sword soul to have so much energy after entering the king realm, He-Tu said in a deep voice as he floated in the air. To be honest, this scene was also beyond He-Tu's expectations. Originally, the Black Earth had enough subdivine crystals, but after Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had absorbed them, there wasn't much left. Now Lin Xian had absorbed a large portion of the subdivine crystals, so there wasn't much left. But even so, there was still no sign of Lin Xian waking up. Moreover, there was no king realm aura coming from his body. Forget it, we can't help it all. We can only wait patiently, He-Tu said slowly. Then, everyone waited patiently for the result. After another 10 days, a deep dragon roar finally came from Lin Xian's body. This dragon roar was very majestic, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Even the Crimson Dragon was shocked, and the blood in his body boiled rapidly. This was too inconceivable. After all, the Crimson Dragon was a member of the Dragon Clan, and a member of the Divine Dragon Clan. The bloodline in his body was extremely high, and very few could rival him. But now, this dragon's roar made it tremble with fear. He-Tu shouted excitedly, "The great dragon sword soul has awakened. It's finally awakened." Only after entering the king realm would the great dragon sword soul be truly awakened. He was too excited because he had once followed a successor of the great dragon sword, so he naturally knew the true power of the great dragon sword soul. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul in Lin Xian's body had finally entered the king realm. This caused He-Tu to feel boundless hope. Fortunately, he had broken through. Otherwise, the remaining subdivine crystals wouldn't be able to support him for long. In the next moment, Lin Xian opened his eyes as well. Boundless sword light flashed in his eyes. Wang, a green dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him. "Back off. Everyone, follow me." Seeing this, He-Tu cried out loudly. Fortunately, the members of the Lin family were all cultivating elsewhere. Only Morong Qingcheng, Luo Bingshan, the Crimson Dragon, and the Snow White Monkey were in the hall. These people were all experts. When they heard He-Tu's call, they immediately retreated. Then, He-Tu controlled the remaining half of the sword and waved it in the air, forming a light formation that completely enveloped them. In front of him, Lin Xian's dragon sword shadow started to tremble rapidly. Then, countless green lights surged in and formed a green dragon sword domain. This domain wasn't too big. It only had a radius of 10 feet. However, the aura it emitted was enough to make one's heart tremble. Even the Crimson Dragon cried out, "Holy shit! No way! How can he be so strong?" He-Tu cried out excitedly. "That's right, the Dragon Sword Soul. It's finally formed the Dragon Sword domain." The Dragon Sword Soul was one of the 5 swords in the world. It was an offensive saint art that could simplify and simulate everything. Its combat power could be said to be incomparably strong. The first successor of the Dragon Sword became the Great Emperor of the West Gate. He swept through the world and ruled over thousands of races. He could be said to be a figure that could crush eternity. After him, the second and third successors of the Dragon Sword did not become great emperors. However, they were also sword saints whose names shook the world. According to the ancient records, the successor of the Dragon Sword who had reached greater mastery was extremely powerful and could even stand shoulder to shoulder with great emperors. This was too terrifying. One had to know that He-Tu was an ancient hero. He was invincible in the world. He was a true overlord. However, the successor of the Dragon Sword who had reached greater mastery was actually able to stand shoulder to shoulder with great emperors. This was shocking news. This kind of combat power was heaven-defying. It was no wonder that the Dragon Sword was called an offensive saint art. And now, Lin Xian was this generation's successor of the Dragon Sword. Moreover, he had already awakened the dragon sword to the king realm. In front of him, Lin Xian also slowly stood up. Looking at the dragon sword domain around him, he revealed a smile. This is the king domain. It's really magical. So powerful. With a thought, the surrounding domain quickly revolved. Countless green sword shadows flew out and instantly turned into a long green dragon that circled around him. With a light wave of his palm, the green dragon's body trembled and turned into a huge phoenix. The phoenix flew high and then turned into a white tiger. It pounced and swooped down. Finally, it turned into a black turtle that suppressed the surroundings. These were not real ancient divine beasts. Instead, they were all evolved from the dragon sword soul, which was the current dragon sword domain. Each of them had to be lifelike as if they were real. Their power was even more powerful. This kind of method could be said to be heaven-defying. Not only that, Lin Xian used the dragon sword domain to evolve all kinds of things. The attack power of each of them was extremely powerful. It could be said that Lin Xian was now like a god of war, sharp and unstoppable. With a thought, Lin Xian recalled the dragon sword domain. Then, the dragon sword soul turned into a ray of light and entered his body. Middle stage 9th heaven, venerable realm. Lin Xian looked and found that his cultivation had also risen by a small level. He had reached the mid-stage of the 9th heaven, venerable realm. He was very satisfied with this result. At least now he could fight against a 1-star king. As for a 2-star king, he didn't know, because he was very clear that after reaching the king realm, the gap between each level was even greater. Compared to the gap between the venerable realm, the gap was more than 10 times or even 100 times greater. It was impossible for ordinary people in the king realm to challenge those of a higher level. However, Lin Xian wasn't certain because the attack power of the dragon sword soul was too powerful, causing everyone to tremble. Seeing Lin Xian withdraw the dragon sword domain, the crimson dragon, Morong Qingcheng, and the others quickly rushed over. "Kid, you finally succeeded," the crimson dragon shouted excitedly. At the side, Morong Qingcheng asked, "Lin Xian, are you a king now?" "I can't be considered a king. I just have a king domain." Lin Xian explained, "My current cultivation is still at the mid-stage of the 9th heaven venerable realm. However, my battle power has already reached the level of a 1-star king." Hearing this, the corners of Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan's mouths twitched. Lin Xian was probably the first such powerful venerable realm since ancient times. He too checked and found that there were only 108 subdivinity crystals left. Lin Xian didn't use these subdivinity crystals. Instead, he carefully sealed them up and left them for Morong Qingcheng and the Lin clan to use in the future. Now, it's time to deal with the Black Dragon sect. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and there was an icy coldness in his eyes. "Are we going to beat up that Black Flood Dragon? Count me in." The Crimson Dragon was extremely excited. Now that it had reached the king realm, it naturally wanted to find someone to spar with. The Black Dragon sect's leader just happened to be a very good prey. Chapter 14:26. "All right, let's go together." Lin Xian nodded, then left the black earth with the Crimson Dragon. This time, only the two of them went, and they didn't bring anyone else. After all, the Black Dragon sect's leader was a king, and this was a battle between kings. It would be very dangerous for anyone below the king level to go. Morong Qingcheng naturally knew this, so she nodded obediently and stayed on the black earth to cultivate. Her main goal now was to enter the king level as soon as possible so that she could catch up to Lin Xian. To be honest, Morong Qingcheng's talent was extraordinary, especially her bloodline power. Even He too was shocked for a long time when he saw it. In fact, when He too saw Morong Qingcheng for the first time, he even screamed. There probably weren't many people with such pure phoenix bloodline in the entire true spirit world. He too had been following the fourth-generation successor of the dragon sword, so his experience was very unique. Although he didn't have the cultivation method of the Phoenix bloodline, with his experience, he could give Morong Chingcheng some good suggestions. Therefore, in this half a year, Morong Chingcheng's cultivation base had also been increasing rapidly. It could be said that she was making rapid progress. In addition, Luo Bingshan and the people of the Lin family had also improved greatly. Compared to half a year ago, they couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Above the devil abyss, a black figure sat cross-legged. He emitted a powerful aura. He was the Black Dragon Sex leader. This time, the Black Dragon Sex leader was exceptionally patient. Even after waiting for half a year, he still didn't leave. This was because the Great Sword Soul was too tempting. It was the most powerful offensive saint art in the world, and no one wouldn't be tempted. Inside the Devil Abyss, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had also left the Black Earth and were flying towards the outside world. That guy was outside. As soon as they left the Black Earth, the Crimson Dragon felt a powerful aura above them. This aura was very powerful, and even Lin Xian should know it. He knew that in the entire Southern Heaven region, only the Black Dragon Sex leader could emit this aura. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon transformed into two streaks of light and flew up into the sky. Soon, they arrived at the top of the sky. The Black Dragon religious leader suddenly opened his eyes, and two terrifying rays of light appeared in his eyes. "You're finally out." He was really too excited because he didn't expect that the other party would actually take the initiative to appear. To him, this was undoubtedly great news. If he could capture the other party, then the great dragon sword spirit would be his. Obediently hand over the great dragon sword soul, and I can spare your life. The Black Dragon religious leader's voice was cold. You want the great dragon sword soul? What wishful thinking. Today, I'm here to deal with you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His gaze was as sharp as a divine sword. Deal with me? Ha ha! The Black Dragon Sex leader seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He laughed coldly in disdain. Brat, you're just a puny venerable one. To think that you dare to boast so shamelessly. Do you know what level I am at? I'm a king, the incomparably powerful king of the heavens and the earth. How dare you say you want to kill me? What a joke. Ignorant. The Black Dragon Sex leader sneered in disdain. What's there to be arrogant about? Aren't you just a one-star king? Back then, I could slap you away. Now, I can still beat you up. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. You're just a flood dragon. How dare you call yourself a dragon? You're courting death. What did you say? Hearing this, the Black Dragon Sex leader's face darkened. His black robe and long hair fluttered in the wind. Countless black flames jumped on his body, distorting the surrounding void. It's you. You're that dragon. When the Black Dragon Sex leader saw the Crimson Dragon, his pupils constricted and his expression became extremely ugly. Previously, he was slapped away by the Crimson Dragon. Now that he thought about it, his heart burned with anger. However, when he sensed the other party's cultivation, he immediately laughed maniacally. One-star king. You're just a one-star prince. Ha ha ha. The heavens are really helping me. If I catch you and eat your dragon essence and dragon blood, then I'll evolve into a true dragon. Even the heavens are helping me. Not only did they give me the great dragon sword soul, but they also gave me a divine dragon. From now on, I am a true member of the Divine Dragon clan. The Black Dragon Sex leader was too excited. He looked at Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon as if he was looking at the most precious treasure. His eyes shone with a terrifying light. Humph, you're courting death. Let me deal with it. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly and instantly charged out, like a blood-red longsword. It quickly streaked across the void and charged toward the Black Dragon Sex leader. Humph, go to hell. The black dragon sect's leader roared into the sky. Instantly, countless black dragon flames surged from his body and formed two huge palms that slapped forward. Not only that, but a sea of fire formed in the space around him, emitting a terrifying aura. King's domain. This was the black dragon sect's leader's domain, the Black Flame domain. The Black Flame domain emitted a blazing black light that dyed the entire void into boundless darkness. If other warriors were here, they would definitely kneel on the ground and tremble in fear. The aura emitted by the Black Flame domain was too terrifying. No one below the King realm could withstand it. The two huge black flame palms glided in the air. Countless black lightning bolts surged rapidly in the palms like huge black dragons. The black lightning bolts and the two huge black palms quickly blasted toward the crimson dragon as if they were going to smash it into pieces. The crimson dragon snorted coldly and let out a shocking dragon roar. Immediately, a red light soared around him. These rays of light enveloped his body, making him look like a bolt of red lightning. He was extremely sharp. Boom, boom, boom. Dozens of black lightning bolts descended and blasted on the red light, emitting deafening thunder sounds. However, none of the black lightning bolts could break through the red light. In other words, the black lightning bolts did not hurt the crimson dragon at all. In an instant, the crimson dragon arrived beside the black dragon sect's leader. Boom! A red dragon claw stretched out. It was extremely sharp and instantly shattered the two huge black palms. Moreover, it charged toward the black dragon sect's leader in an even more violent manner. "You're courting death." The black dragon sect's leader was furious. He had never been threatened like this before and immediately roared. His body emitted a sharp black light as countless black flames danced. Combined with the Black Flame domain, an extremely terrifying power erupted. Black dragons soaring sky. With a cold roar, countless black flames in the Black Flame domain formed a huge black wave that quickly rushed toward the crimson dragon. Countless black lightning bolts intertwined within the wave, as if they were going to tear the entire sky apart. Chapter 14:27. Boom. In the next moment, the two of them collided with an extremely terrifying sound. The flood dragon and dragon began to fight. Damn it. Impossible. How can you be so strong? Not long after, the black dragon patriarch roared furiously because he noticed that his black flame domain was being suppressed. His opponent was like a crimson sword that was constantly attacking him, making it impossible for him to use his full strength. Moreover, what infuriated him even more was that his opponent was just a one-star king like him. However, the strength he displayed was much stronger than his own. It could be said that he was being completely beaten up. Humph, you're just a flood dragon that has just entered the king realm. How can you use your full strength? You're the ant before me. Let's see how Ben Huang beats you up. The crimson dragon snorted in disdain and then quickly waved its claws. One fierce attack after another slammed into the black flame domain, causing it to be pushed back and tremble violently. Damn it, die for me. The black dragon patriarch roared furiously and used all his strength to counterattack, but he was still completely suppressed. This caused a ball of fury to burn in his heart. It seemed that his opponent was indeed stronger than him. It would probably be very difficult for him to obtain dragon essence and dragon blood. However, in the next moment, he looked behind him and saw Lin Xian standing there. Immediately, the black dragon patriarch laughed wildly in his heart. Yes, this crimson dragon was strong, but that kid was only a human, and he was only at the Exalt realm. This kind of cultivation was like an ant before him. Up until now, the crimson dragon had not used the power of the dragon sword soul. This meant that it was very likely that the dragon sword soul was with that kid. Thinking of this, the Black Dragon Patriarch's heart thumped wildly. The Black Dragon Patriarch resisted the Crimson Dragon's attacks while looking at Lin Xian in the distance with a savage smile on his face. Soon, he had a plan in his heart. He would give up on the Crimson Dragon's dragon essence and dragon blood, and only take the dragon sword soul. Black Flame Domain. Netherworld transformation. The Black Dragon religious leader furiously roared. Immediately, the surrounding black flame domain began to churn. Countless terrifying auras dyed the entire sky black. Countless black dragon shadows rushed out and instantly surrounded the Crimson Dragon. Within the black flame domain, the Black Dragon religious leader sneered, after which his figure flashed as he quickly retreated and charged towards Lin Xian. His plan was simple. He only needed to use the Black Flame Domain to trap the Crimson Dragon for a period of time while he charged towards Lin Xian. One move. He only needed one move to capture Lin Xian. At that time, he would immediately retreat and fly far away. He would only come out after he had grasped the great dragon sword soul. At that time, no one in the world would be his match. This idea was indeed very simple, and that was what he did. Therefore, when the Black Flame Domain erupted and enveloped the Crimson Dragon, the Black Dragon Hierarch took the initiative. He turned into a bolt of black lightning and instantly charged towards Lin Xian. Kid, go to hell. In an instant, the Black Dragon religious leader arrived in front of Lin Xian. His terrifying palm was like a dragon's claw as he quickly grabbed towards Lin Xian's head, wanting to crush it. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted as a shocking light burst out from his eyes. Then, the sword aura on his body surged and condensed into a huge sword-light shield in front of him. Clang! In the next moment, the Black Dragon religious leader's palm fiercely slammed onto the shield, producing an earth-shattering sound. At this moment, a green sword shadow appeared in Lin Xian's right hand. It was a dragon-shaped sword shadow. It was very mighty and emitted a terrifying aura. As soon as the dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, the Black Dragon religious leader's expression changed. This aura? Impossible. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. This aura was too terrifying, causing him to feel a sense of trepidation. This was the instinct of a martial artist to be able to predict danger. Therefore, the Black Dragon religious leader did not hesitate and quickly retreated. He did not know what was going on with this kid in front of him. Why was he emitting such a dangerous aura? However, he knew that if he did not dodge, he would definitely be in danger. You want to leave? It's too late. Lin Xian sneered. Do you really think that I'm someone who can be trampled on? In the next moment, the terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow quickly slashed out. As a king, the Black Dragon religious leader's speed was very fast. He retreated far away in an instant. However, the power of this sword was too great. The terrifying sword light directly pierced through space and chased after the Black Dragon religious leader, as if it wanted to cut him in half. Roar! A loud dragon roar resounded in the sky as the terrifying sword aura slashed down, bringing with it endless air waves as if the entire sky was cut in half. In the next moment, the terrifying sword light enveloped the Black Dragon religious leader. The Black Dragon religious leader let out a shrill scream. Then, a large amount of blood splattered in the air. Impossible. This is impossible. You're just a venerable. How can you hurt me? The Black Dragon religious leader's hair was disheveled as he roared crazily. His eyes shone with a terrifying light, as if he had gone mad. He's crazy. He's really crazy, because this had already exceeded his understanding. After all, as a king, his strength was extremely terrifying. Apart from king realm experts who could cause him harm, venerable ones below the king realm could not hurt him at all. They could not even break through his defense. However, a mere venerable one in front of him had actually injured him. This was simply too unbelievable. No, it's impossible for you to be so powerful. The great dragon sword soul. This is the power of the great dragon sword soul. The black dragon religious leader understood. His eyes flickered as he stared at the dragon-shaped sword shadow in Lin Xian's hand. A sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Good, good, good. As expected of the great dragon sword soul, it can actually allow a venerable realm brat to possess such powerful strength. If I get it, I can definitely dominate the world. The black dragon religious leader revealed a sinister smile. He yearned to obtain the great dragon sword soul because it was too powerful. However, right at this moment, the crimson dragon snorted coldly. It waved its dragon claw and broke open the black flame domain. Little flood dragon, you want the great dragon sword soul? Go play somewhere else. Brat, this flood dragon is too boring. I'll give it to you. The crimson dragon retreated to the side and prepared to watch the show. He knew Lin Xian's strength, so he wasn't worried. Don't be arrogant. Isn't it just the great dragon sword soul? Humph, with your cultivation, you can't unleash the true strength of the great dragon sword soul. Next, I'll let you know the true strength of a king realm expert. The black dragon religious leader snorted coldly. Since the crimson dragon wasn't going to make a move, things would be easier. He just had to use the black flame domain to kill the young man in front of him and seize the great dragon sword soul. So in the next moment, he waved his hand, and the black flame domain returned to his side. It flickered with a pitch-black light. Brat, die. Chapter 1428. The black dragon religious leader shouted coldly as his body turned into a ray of light and instantly charged towards Lin Xian. Beside him, the black flame domain burned fiercely, carrying an extremely terrifying energy. No one below the king realm could resist this kind of energy. Just as the black flame domain was about to envelop Lin Xian finally moved. His expression was cold as he waved his hand. Instantly, a dragon-shaped sword shadow dodged, forming an incomparable sword light. Then, a green dragon sword domain quickly formed. Boom! The two domains collided, creating an earth-shattering sound. Cracks formed in the surrounding space. King domain? This is impossible. The black dragon religious leader was forced back, his expression extremely shocked. He looked at the dragon sword domain in front of him and exclaimed. There was no other way. He didn't dare to believe that the other party also had a king domain. One had to know that a king domain was an ability unique to kings. It was impossible for anyone below the king realm to have it. But now a ninth heaven venerable had actually unleashed a king's domain. This was really hard for him to believe. Even though he saw it with his own eyes, he still didn't dare to believe it. Illusion! Damn it! This must be an illusion! The black dragon religious leader roared, crazily. With the black flame domain, his entire body was like a monstrous god fiend, emitting a powerful aura. He waved his hand, and a black spear appeared in the black flame domain. He held it in his hand. I don't believe that you can condense a king domain. All of this is fake. Don't try to lie to me. Now, go to hell. The black dragon religious leader held the spear in his hand, and a terrifying power shook heaven and earth. A black spear shadow rushed forward like a huge dragon, covering the sky and covering the earth. The energy contained within it was simply too terrifying. It directly pierced through the entire void. Today, I will let you experience the true power of the dragon sword soul. Lin Xian held the dragon sword soul in his hand, and the dragon sword domain surrounded his body. His entire body was like a sword saint, incomparably sharp. Then He slashed out with his sword. A terrifying sword light spread out in all directions, and a loud dragon roar reverberated for thousands of miles. The black dragon religious leader's expression finally changed when the sword light rushed over. Only now did he know how terrifying the dragon sword soul was. Although Lin Xian was only a ninth heaven venerate, the might of this sword strike was really too terrifying. The power contained within it made the black dragon religious leader feel the threat of death. It did not seem to be a sword light, but an incomparably terrifying huge dragon. The violent energy it carried suppressed the black dragon religious leader to the point that he could not move. How is that possible? This is impossible. The black dragon religious leader's body trembled slightly. He actually couldn't control this kind of terror. Cold sweat trickled down his forehead. Fear. Yes, that's right. It's the feeling of fear. How many years had it been since he felt this way? But today, he felt it again in the hands of a 20-year-old youth. No, I don't believe it. The black dragon religious leader roared, crazily. Before the sword light descended, his body was finally able to move. Seizing the opportunity, he quickly activated his black flame domain and formed 3 terrifying black palms that slapped towards the sky. As for himself, he quickly retreated. Boundless heat waves surged as the 3 terrifying black palms slapped towards the sky, colliding with the dragon-shaped sword light in the sky. This was the black dragon religious leader's all-out attack. It contained terrifying energy as it ruthlessly slapped the sky. Instantly, black holes appeared one after another. However, such terrifying energy was unable to shake the dragon-shaped sword light. The sword light flickered, and the terrifying sword light instantly sliced apart the 3 black palms. Although the light on them dimmed a little, they still carried boundless energy as they continued to attack the black dragon religious leader. Damn it, how is that possible? The black dragon religious leader's expression turned ugly when he saw this scene. At this moment, he finally experienced the taste of fear. This feeling made his entire body tremble, and even his black robes were drenched. Demon Dragon Spear of Annihilation. Facing the dragon-shaped sword light that was charging towards him, he roared again. Instantly, a black demonic spear flew out of his black flame domain. This long spear was pitch black and emitted terrifying demonic energy that spread out for 3,000 miles. On the surface of the spear, there were black runes engraved on it, emitting a terrifying aura of death. The black dragon religious leader held the long spear in his hand and quickly swept it out. A terrifying spear light that carried the aura of death surged towards the sky. Not only that, his left hand pulled out a long black saber from his black flame domain. The long black saber was 90 feet long and completely black. It was like a demonic saber that emitted a cold aura. Infernal demonic saber. Destroy. He slashed out 32 times in a row, and the terrifying black saber light covered the entire sky. The black dragon religious leader's face turned pale. These 32 attacks contained all of his energy, and he even felt exhausted. The sky exploded as though it was the end of the world. A huge black vortex appeared and rapidly spread out in all directions. At this moment, all the martial artists in Xia country raised their heads and looked towards the sky. They could feel a terrifying energy exploding from the sky. It was like a giant beast in the abyss that wanted to devour the entire world. In fact, the entire Xia country was trembling violently. This was the black dragon religious leader's all-out attack, and it was extremely terrifying. Fortunately, it exploded in the sky. Otherwise, if it hit the ground, the entire Xia country would probably be reduced to ashes. However, the black dragon religious leader didn't relax. There was even a trace of despair in his eyes. Because such a terrifying attack had only destroyed the dragon-shaped sword chi in the sky. As for Lin Xian, who was far away, he couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. What? How is this possible? Damn it, I don't believe it. The Black Dragon religious leader roared madly with an extremely unsightly expression. At this moment, he no longer had his high and mighty attitude. Instead, he was roaring madly like a madman. However, in the next moment, his expression became extremely unsightly again. He noticed that the dragon-shaped sword in Lin Xian's hand was shining brightly again. Another dragon-shaped sword chi was circling around the sword. As the religious leader of a religious leader who had reached the king realm, he could be said to be a peerless expert. There was no one in the Southern Heaven region who could subdue him. But now his opponent, a young man in his 20s, made him feel extremely threatened. In particular, the sword in his opponent's hand caused him to be extremely shocked. If his opponent's sword, chi, could be slashed out without restraint, he didn't dare to imagine the consequences. After all, he had used all his strength to barely block the sword chi from before, but now he was about to face the second attack. Damn it, impossible. How can this kid be so powerful? The Black Dragon religious leader shook his head madly in disbelief. It was even to the extent that his martial heart was shaken. No, I can't let him use the second attack. The Black Dragon religious leader's face was gloomy. He decided to strike first. In the next moment, he held a black demonic spear and charged forward quickly with the black flame domain. As for Lin Xian, he also summoned the dragon sword domain and charged forward. Chapter 14:29. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The two domains collided and emitted a resplendent light. Kid, go to hell. This time, the Black Dragon hierarch went all out. The black robe on his body trembled, and black scales grew on his limbs and body. He turned into a black dragon. His body grew from 3 meters to 7 to 8 meters tall. He was like a tyrannosaurus that was filled with power. He took a step forward, and countless black holes appeared in the sky. Lin Xian also let out a long roar. The dragon-shaped sword in his hand emitted a resplendent light as he shouted coldly, "Let's end this!" In the next moment, a blazing sword gleam surged out and covered the entire sky. The void turned green, and there were dragon shadows and sword gleams everywhere. The entire sky seemed to have turned into a dragon-shaped sword diagram that emitted terrifying energy. Boom! With a slash of the sword, a huge dragon-shaped sword gleam surged out and flew toward the Black Dragon hierarch. Wherever it passed, the void collapsed rapidly. In the next moment, the resplendent sword gleam enveloped the Black Dragon hierarch. A miserable shriek rang out as the Black Dragon hierarch let out a miserable cry. The terrifying dragon-shaped sword gleamed even more brightly. Streaks of green sword gleam soared into the sky, followed by a terrifying dragon roar. The dragon roar was so clear that all the martial artists in Xia country heard it. At this moment, all the martial artists in Xia country raised their heads and looked at the sky with a horrified expression. The sky was filled with countless sword gleams, and there was a huge dragon shadow hovering above, crushing the entire void into countless pieces. After a long time, the green sword gleams that filled the sky gradually disappeared, and the pungent smell of blood came from the sky. Above the demon abyss, battlefield, the Black Dragon hierarch was sent flying over 10,000 meters and floated in the sky. The black robe on his body was torn, and there was a huge crack on his body. His internal organs and bones were all exposed. There were sword scars all over his body. It could be said that there was not a single part of his body that was intact except for his head. However, he looked extremely ferocious at this moment. Impossible! I don't believe it! You can't be so strong. The Black Dragon hierarch was horrified. That sword gleam had almost taken his life. That sword strike from before was simply too terrifying. It almost split the black dragon religious leader in half. Even now, there were countless green sword chi circling around the wound, madly destroying his body. At this moment, he finally felt fear. He knew that even though the young man before him was only a 9th level venerate, his battle prowess still surpassed his own. Now, how could he still dare to snatch the great dragon sword soul? He only wanted to escape, otherwise he would definitely be killed here. But now, the path was still sealed. In front of him was Lin Xian, and behind him was the Crimson Dragon. Even if he was at his peak, he wouldn't be able to escape, let alone now that he was seriously injured. In this moment of despair, he suddenly thought of a way. He remembered that there was still a king monster at the bottom of the demon abyss. If he called that guy out and worked together with him, he might be able to escape with his life. Therefore, in the next moment, the black dragon religious leader shouted crazily, "The guy down there, stop hiding. These two obviously won't let you go. When I die, they will definitely make a move on you." That voice turned into a solid wave that spread to the bottom of the tide. Sure enough, in the next moment, a low roar suddenly came from below. Then, 9 red arms that were 3,000 meters long quickly stretched out from below like red pillars that connected the sky and the earth. It's finally out. Seeing this scene, the black dragon religious leader heaved a sigh of relief. Great, as long as the other king monster attacked, he would definitely have a chance to survive. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as he looked down. At the side, the Crimson Dragon also looked down with interest. In the demon abyss below, there were clouds and mist surrounding it, and behind the clouds, a huge black shadow appeared. The black shadow quickly walked over and appeared in front of everyone. Looking at this king-level monster, Lin Xian was astonished. He knew that there was a monster below and that it had reached the king monster level. However, he didn't expect it to be a fox and a 9-tailed fox. The 9 arms that were 3,000 meters long were actually the 9 tails of the 9-tailed fox. The 9-tailed fox's body was fiery red, and its body was like a small mountain. His eyes were incomparably cold, and there were 9 tails behind him. At that moment, they had transformed into 9 terrifying arms. As soon as the 9-tailed fox appeared, it brought with it a monstrous, murderous aura that dyed the entire sky red. "It's a fox." Lin Xian was surprised. I didn't expect it to be a 9-tailed fox. It must have eaten a subdivinity crystal to grow to the king monster level. The Crimson Dragon also narrowed its eyes and looked curiously. Suddenly, the 9-tailed fox let out a low roar with a trace of uneasiness in its expression. For some reason, the 2-meter-long red snake in front of it, which was like an ant in its eyes, was emitting a terrifying aura at this moment. Even the aura made it feel a sense of fear. "Damn worm, hand over the subdivinity crystal, and I'll spare your life." The huge 9-tailed fox spoke in human language with a cold voice. Boom. The Crimson Dragon quickly attacked. Its huge dragon claw turned into a red fist and blasted towards the 9-tailed fox. In the next moment, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The 9-tailed fox's huge body was smashed away. Boom. A mountain peak in the distance was smashed into pieces. "Who are you calling a worm? If you talk nonsense again, Ben Huang will knock out all your teeth." The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. Roar. In the distance, the 9-tailed fox got up and quickly rushed over. Its huge eyes stared fiercely at the Crimson Dragon, and its eyes were full of murderous aura. It was furious. It was too furious. As a king monster beast, it looked down on everyone. When had it ever suffered such humiliation? But now it was sent flying by a red snake in front of it. It was so angry that its lungs were about to explode. But soon it was terrified again. The opponent's strength was too terrifying. It was so fast that it was sent flying before it could even see clearly. It knew that the opponent's strength was definitely not weak. It was also a king monster beast. At the side, the black dragon leader stopped his wound with difficulty and said in a low voice, "Stupid fox, don't hesitate. Attack with me and fight against them together. Otherwise, if I die, you won't have a hard time either." "Humph, cunning fellow. Aren't you just trying to use my strength to escape? You make it sound so righteous." The nine-tailed fox snorted coldly. It seemed that it was not a fool. Lin Xian said coldly, "Since it's out, let's get rid of it together." He had long planned to get rid of this monster beast. If the nine-tailed fox was allowed to live, it would definitely be a huge disaster after they left. So, just in case, it was better to get rid of the trouble before they left. On the other side, the black dragon religious leader also let out a furious roar, preparing to ignite the black flame domain and perish together. But in the next moment his body froze, and a trace of disbelief appeared in his eyes. What a fast sword! Boom! The black dragon religious leader's body was completely split into two halves. Not only him, but the black flame domain around him was also split apart by the sword. Quick! It was too fast. The speed of this sword exceeded the black dragon religious leader's expectations. He was killed before he could even react. After killing the black dragon religious leader, Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. His face was somewhat pale. After all, he was only a 9th-level Venerable Realm cultivator and could not use the Dragon Sword domain for a long period of time. But fortunately, he had not reached his limit yet. So, in the next moment, he turned around and stared at the nine-tailed fox in the distance again. Being stared at by Lin Xian, the nine-tailed fox's body froze. This was because it had seen the scene of Lin Xian killing the black dragon religious leader earlier. That sword strike had made its heart tremble. Even if it were in Lin Xian's place, it would not have the ability to resist. So now, being stared at by Lin Xian, it was very scared. If the other party attacked it, it would not be able to resist at all. So in the next moment, it hurriedly shook its head. "Stop. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore." It did not dare to fight anymore because it was being beaten up by the Crimson Dragon. And this was because the other party was deliberately teasing it and did not kill it. Otherwise, it would have been killed long ago. Now that Lin Xian was here, it was even more impossible to win, so it could only beg for mercy. If someone was here and saw this scene, their eyes would definitely pop out. A dignified king demonic beast was actually begging for mercy. This was something that they did not dare to imagine. However, at this moment, it was really happening. Hearing this, Lin Xian did not make a move. Instead, he turned to look at the Crimson Dragon. "Rosalong, can you subdue it?" "No problem. It's just a 1-star king demonic beast. It's completely subdued." The Crimson Dragon was quite confident. Now that it was also a king demonic beast, it could use some magical methods. It was no longer like before when it only had thoughts and no power. "All right then, seal it and bring it back." "Bring it back? Do you want to keep it as a pet?" the Crimson Dragon asked. It really did not understand what Lin Xian wanted to do. Keep it as a pet. Hearing this, the nine-tailed fox's mouth twitched. It was arrogant and unruly. As a king demonic beast, it looked down on the world. Now it was being kept as a pet. This huge contrast made it so angry that it almost vomited blood. However, in order to save its life, it did not dare to resist at all. Otherwise, Lin Xian would definitely kill it. It could only grind its sharp teeth and snort madly in its heart. "Brat, just you wait. One day, I'll eat you with my own mouth." In the next moment, the Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws and created a powerful seal that directly sealed the nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox was terrified because it realized that its body was rapidly shrinking. Not only that, but the power in its body was also rapidly weakening. In the end, it could not even mobilize it. What kind of technique is this? How can it be so powerful? As a king demonic beast, it naturally knew how terrifying this technique was. It did not expect Lin Xian to have such a technique. The nine-tailed fox's mountain-like body was rapidly shrinking until it was only the size of a house cat. After shrinking, the nine-tailed fox was still struggling in the air. The 9 tails behind it were constantly swaying. Its originally ferocious little face looked very cute at this moment. The crimson dragon waved its dragon claws and caught the 9-tailed fox in its hand. "Little fox, follow us well. When we have meat to eat, there will be soup for you." "Woo-woo," the 9-tailed fox snorted twice. It was unknown whether it was crying or agreeing. "Let's go back." Lin Xian waved his hand. Then he and the crimson dragon turned into 2 streaks of lightning and instantly rushed down to the demon abyss. Inside the demon abyss, black earth. Murong Qingcheng waited anxiously. She kept pacing back and forth inside the black earth. She was too worried. After all, Lin Xian wanted to kill the black dragon sex leader, a true king. Although she knew Lin Xian's strength, the black dragon sex leader was not to be trifled with. Therefore, she was very worried. He too was spinning in the air. He complained, "All right, stop spinning. I'm going dizzy." Murong Qingcheng quickly asked, "Hey too, do you think he's in danger? After all, he's a true king." Chapter 1431. Inside the Devil Abyss, the Black Earth. Murong Qingcheng was anxiously waiting as she paced back and forth inside the Black Earth. She was too worried. After all, Lin Xian was going to kill the black dragon sex leader, a true king. Although she knew Lin Xian's strength, the black dragon sex leader was not to be trifled with. Therefore, she was very worried. He too was spinning in the air as he complained, "All right, stop spinning. I'm getting dizzy." Murong Qingcheng quickly asked, "He too, do you think he's in danger? After all, he's a true king." "Miss, you've asked this question 800 times. He too was helpless. That kid has the great dragon sword soul. He's very powerful. Moreover, there's a king-level divine dragon beside him. What are you worried about?" He too was speechless. One had to know that the great dragon sword soul was very powerful. Being invincible among those of the same level was the most basic standard. Moreover, it wasn't difficult to fight those of a higher level because the great dragon sword soul was an offensive saint technique. Every generation's successor of the dragon sword was an extremely dazzling genius. He had high hopes for Lin Xian. He planned to nurture Lin Xian into a great emperor. If Lin Xian couldn't kill the black dragon sex leader, he would be disappointed. Just as he was thinking, the Black Earth's door suddenly opened. Following that, 2 figures flashed in. "Lin Xian, you're back." Murong Qingcheng cheered when she saw the figure. Luo Bingshan also quickly walked over and shouted respectfully, "Master, you're back." Lin Xian nodded. At this moment, He too said softly, "You've been fighting for a long time. Is it that difficult to kill a black dragon sex leader?" There seemed to be a trace of dissatisfaction in his tone. Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were already familiar with this kind of language. However, if it were anyone else, even a king-level expert who heard this sentence, they would vomit blood. What did he mean by, "Is it that difficult to kill a black dragon sex leader"? He was a true king. Were they going to be killed like vegetables? If the black dragon religious leader was still alive, he would definitely burst into tears upon hearing this. However, Lin Xian shrugged. "It's been done for a long time. It's just that something else happened along the way. Look, I brought back something good." As he spoke, Lin Xian took out a furry object from his bosom. What's this?" Fox, so cute." Murong Qingcheng was stunned at first, then cheered and quickly snatched the red fur ball from Lin Xian's hands. It's actually a nine-tailed fox. Lin Xian, where did you get such a cute animal? Morong Qingqing asked as he rubbed the nine-tailed fox's head. Cute animals? When the nine-tailed fox heard this, her face darkened. She even had the thought of dying. On the other hand, Lin Xian said with a smile, "It's nothing. It's just a little fox." "It's too cute," Morong Qingqing said. "Lin Xian, give it to me." "Give it to you?" Lin Xian was stunned and looked at Morong Qingqing. "You like this guy?" "Yes, it's too cute. It's not bad to keep it as a pet. You already have little white, so give it to me." Hearing this, the little white monkey jumped out and gestured for a while. What it meant was that how could this smelly fox in front of it be compared to it? "I originally planned to use it for something else, but since you like it, I'll give it to you," Lin Xian said with a smile. "This guy is female. If you like foxes, you can ask her to give birth to a few more in the future." When the nine-tailed fox heard that these people wanted to distribute her, she was speechless. She lay on Morong Qingqing's body and pretended to be dead. However, when she heard Lin Xian's words, she jumped up and spat out a mouthful of blood. "What do you mean by female?" "That's a female." "Okay." The nine-tailed fox's face darkened, and she spoke in human language. "Ah, it can speak human language?" Morong Qingqing was shocked. Then her face was full of joy. "Not bad, not bad. It's intelligent. Looks like it's better than Little White. It's even on the same level as this Rizalong." "Puff, little girl Morong, what's wrong with your eyes? How dare you compare Ben Huang to a fox? I can't stand it." The Crimson Dragon was not happy. Little White Monkey was also grumbling with a look of displeasure. On the side, Hey Tu was also flying around the crowd, interrupting from time to time. "Miss, this fox is a one-star king. If you want to be a pet, you have to raise your strength to the king realm first." "You're saying that this little fox is a king realms?" This time, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan were shocked. They did not expect such a cute little fox to be a king realm monster. But then Morong Qingqing was even happier. Such a cute little fox, and it was so strong. All the more she wanted to adopt it, so that she would not have to fight by herself in the future. Seeing how happy Morong Qingqing was, Lin Xian asked, "Rizalong, is your seal safe? Don't release this guy's power, or Qingqing will be in danger." "Don't worry, with Ben Huang here, it's absolutely safe," the Crimson Dragon said confidently. Lin Xian was still worried. After all, this matter concerned Morong Qingqing's safety. So he asked again, "Hey Tu, do you have anything good that can make this safer?" In fact, Lin Xian could use 10,000 beast ding to directly plant a beast slave seal. However, to use 10,000 beast ding, he would have to pay a price. Moreover, if he planted a beast slave seal, this nine-tailed fox would be loyal, but it would not be as cute. This was not what Lin Xian wanted, so he asked Hey Tuesday yes. Of course, Hey Tu tried his best to satisfy Lin Xian's request. He quickly flew away and soon flew back. This time, he brought back a scroll. "What's this?" Lin Xian asked. It was a contract scroll. As long as 2 people dripped their blood on it, it would form a master-servant contract. However, this nine-tailed fox's talent was not very good, and its growth was limited. It was a pity to use this scroll. Hearing this, the nine-tailed fox's ears drooped, and it looked defeated. As a king demonic beast, it had never suffered such a blow before. Now that Budan's pet was taken back, it was even despised by others. However, Morong Qingqing did not care much because, in her opinion, a king realm monster was already very terrifying. So, she quickly established a master-servant contract with the nine-tailed fox. Suddenly, the scroll emitted a soft light, enveloping Morong Qingqing and the nine-tailed fox. In the next moment, Morong Qingqing felt a connection. It was the nine-tailed foxes. The ferocious look in the nine-tailed fox's eyes disappeared and was replaced by a touch of wisdom. It even rubbed its furry little head against Murong Chingching's face. What should I call you? Murong Chingching smiled and tilted her head. This time, they also brought along Murong Chingcheng and Luo Bingshan. The group of people boarded the spirit boat from before and quickly left the Devil Abyss. The spirit boat flew up into the sky and quickly flew into the distance. This time, their target was the Black Dragon cult's headquarters. The Black Dragon cult's headquarters was located in the center of the Tiannan region. It occupied a very vast mountain range. This mountain range was the best spirit vein in the entire Tiannan region. The spirit chi was very rich. In the mountain range, there were countless palaces and pavilions. In the center, there was a very large black palace. It stood in front of them like a black dragon sitting there. At this moment, the entire Black Dragon cult had set up a layer of defensive array. Not far from the Black Dragon cult's mountain range, there was also a group of people gathered. Most of them were old men, but there were also some young people. They were looking at the mountain range in the distance with solemn expressions. These people were not weak. They were all in the venerable realm. There were even one or two old men who had reached the ninth heaven of the venerable realm. Their clothes had the word martial written on them. Obviously, they were from the Martial Alliance. If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize these people. This was because a few of these old men were the judges of the Azure Dragon Gathering. Even among the younger generation, there were a few that he recognized. One of them was wearing a flaming robe. He was extremely handsome and had an arrogant look on his face. He was the Heavenly Fire Prince of the Heavenly Fire sect. The other person was even more powerful. He was burly and looked like a demon king. He was the Overlord, who ranked first on the Azure Dragon leaderboard, Overlord Wuji. These two people's auras were powerful. They were not weaker than those old men at all. Obviously, the Martial Alliance had also obtained some subdivinity crystals. That was why they had so many experts to fight against the Black Dragon cult. However, the Martial Alliance did not have a king, so they had always been suppressed by the Black Dragon cult. This time, they received news that the Black Dragon cult's 8 great hall masters and 4 great protectors had been annihilated. When they heard about this, they were extremely shocked. They could not believe it and thought it was fake news released by the Black Dragon cult. Their goal was to bait them. However, after many investigations, they finally found out that the news was true. Then, these people were stunned. They could not believe it. 8 great hall masters and 4 great protectors. They were all extremely powerful people. Putting everything else aside, any one of the great protectors could defeat all of them. Such powerful people were annihilated. Who did it? They could not figure it out. Anyway, it was not the Martial Alliance who did it. It's very likely that a martial artist that we don't know about obtained the subdivinity crystals from the Demon Abyss and absorbed the energy inside. That's why he became so powerful. Overlord Wuji said in a deep voice. Hearing that, everyone nodded. They all felt that it made sense. At this moment, among the group of old men, a person called Venerable Qinglian said, "There's another possibility. It's someone from the Tianwu continent." However, the Tianwu continent has always looked down on the Tiannan region. It's impossible that they won't come to our aid. Everyone was talking about the mysterious expert at this moment. Another old man said, "This is a good opportunity for us. I heard that the Black Dragon cult's leader and the left and right emissaries brought a large number of experts and left the Black Dragon cult. If we can take over their headquarters and seize the treasures inside, our Martial Alliance might be able to grow stronger again. I hope so. However, The Black Dragon cult's mountain protection formation is not easy to break. Let's hurry up and take action. Who knows what the Black Dragon cult's leader is doing with so many experts if they enter the demon abyss again and obtain the subdivinity crystals to create a large number of experts will be completely finished. By then, the entire Tianan region will belong to the Black Dragon cult. Hearing that, everyone's hearts sank. They took a deep breath and prepared to take action. However, at this moment, a young disciple exclaimed, "Look, what's that?" Chapter 1433. Look, what's that? A young man exclaimed. What are you shouting for? We'll be discovered if you continue like this. Can you bear the responsibility for disrupting our plan? An old man snorted with a gloomy face. Yes, elder. I was wrong. The young man lowered his head and admitted his mistake. However, he insisted, there's really something. Something really flew across the sky like lightning. Something flew across the sky? Are you sure? The other old men frowned. Could it be that the people from the Black Dragon sect had returned? This time, they were planning to launch a sneak attack while the Black Dragon sect's leader and other experts were away. If the experts from the Black Dragon sect returned, their plan would fail. Hence, everyone's face turned solemn. Zhao Ping cultivates eye techniques. Although his cultivation isn't the best, he should be able to see things correctly. This time, Venerable Green Lotus also spoke. He was the leader of this operation. Hence, when Venerable Green Lotus spoke, the others fell silent. Zhao Ping, tell me, what exactly did you see? Was it from the Black Dragon sect? Elder, I didn't see it clearly. I only saw a flash of light. However, from the aura, it didn't seem like it was from the Black Dragon sect. Oh, even you didn't see it clearly? Venerable Green Lotus was surprised. He knew that Zhao Ping cultivated an eye technique. His eyesight was extremely accurate. In this aspect, he was not inferior to the old men. In fact, he was even stronger. However, at this moment, even he did not see it clearly. It was unbelievable. Where did that thing go? Venerable Green Lotus thought of a possibility and asked quickly, It's the Black Dragon sect's headquarters. Venerable Green Lotus gasped when he heard that. His expression was uncertain, as if he was thinking about something. At this moment, Crown Prince Heavenly Flame asked in a deep voice, Elder, is there something wrong? Other than the Martial Alliance. Only the Black Dragon sect has such means. However, that thing doesn't belong to the Martial Alliance. I'm afraid it doesn't belong to the Black Dragon sect either. However, there should be another expert from the Tianan region. You're talking about the mysterious expert who killed the 8 Hall Masters and the 4 Great Protectors. Infinite Tyrant said coldly. Yes, that's right. It's him. Venerable Green Lotus nodded. In the next moment, everyone was shocked and their eyes widened. What? Could it really be that mysterious expert? Is he going to attack the headquarters of the Black Dragon cult? Everyone was extremely shocked. Originally, with the number of people they had, even if they wanted to break through the defensive formation outside the Black Dragon sect, it would still take a very long time. But now, if a mysterious expert came, their efficiency would be greatly increased. Let's go and take a look. Venerable Green Lotus pondered for a moment and finally said in a deep voice. Then he waved his hand and led the group carefully toward the mountain range in front of them. On the other side, Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, Morong Qingcheng, and Luo Bingshan were riding on a spirit boat and flying quickly ahead. Master, up ahead is the headquarters of the Black Dragon cult. Luo Bingshan looked down at the mountain range and quickly reported, Have we arrived? Hearing this, Lin Xian woke up from his cultivation and opened his eyes to look below. The Black Dragon cult is ruthless and cruel. In the past few years of their rise, they have caused great suffering in the Tianan region. It's time to get rid of this evil cult. Lin Xian said coldly. That's easy. Watch me. The Crimson Dragon also looked down. Is this the nest of the dragon? How extravagant! The Crimson Dragon rolled his eyes and then shouted down. Listen up, your Black Dragon cult leader is dead. Hurry up and open the gate. Kneel down and wait for your punishment. Otherwise, when we attack, you'll be dead. This voice was like a clap of thunder that quickly spread to the people below. Instantly, everyone within a radius of 10,000 miles heard it. The formation of the Black Dragon cult below trembled and produced a rumbling sound. Search, 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 search. In an instant, countless martial artists in black robes rushed out of the countless palaces and pavilions in the mountain range in front of them. They all looked up at the sky with cold expressions. Who is it? How dare you cause trouble in our Black Dragon cult? You're courting death. Hurry up and come here to die. I can leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, if you anger the Black Dragon cult, we'll kill all of you. Countless Black Dragon cult martial artists looked up at the sky and shouted coldly. To be honest, in their opinion, the other party was too arrogant. How dare he cause trouble above the Black Dragon cult? This was something that had never happened before. Even the Martial Alliance did not dare to be so arrogant. The people of the Martial Alliance below also stopped and looked up at the sky. It's really that mysterious expert. Elder, should we attack? Someone asked. Venerable Green Lotus shook his head. No need. Let's wait and see. Humph, a bunch of ants. Your cult leader is dead, and you still dare to be so arrogant? Do you believe that Benhuang will kill you with a slap? At this moment, the Crimson Dragon snorted coldly again. What? The Black Dragon cult leader is dead? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. The people of the Martial Alliance were also shocked. They widened their eyes and could not believe it. The disciples of the Black Dragon cult were stunned at first, then they laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha. Idiot, do you know what you're saying? Our cult leader is a king. No one can compare to him in this world. How dare you say he's dead? What a joke. How dare you curse our cult leader? Kneel down and accept your death. The group of people shouted arrogantly. They did not believe that their cult leader would be killed. Even Venerable Blue Lotus and the Crown Prince were frowning. What did he say? The Black Dragon cult leader is dead? How is that possible? The group of people shook their heads. The Black Dragon cult leader was a king. They could only look up to him. How could such a person be killed? Crown Prince Heavenly Flame sneered. Humph, what expert? I think he's just a braggart. How dare he say that the Black Dragon cult leader is dead? Does he know what the Black Dragon cult leader's cultivation is? Not to mention the disciples of the Black Dragon cult. Even the people of the Martial Alliance could not believe it. Perhaps no one in the entire Tianan region would believe that the Black Dragon cult leader was killed. Sigh, what a bunch of ignorant people. On the spiritual vessel, the Crimson Dragon shook his head and sighed. Lin Xian also frowned. Since they're so stubborn, let's just do it. Nine-tailed, blast open the defensive formation below. Nine-tailed Fox was sleeping in Morong Qingqing's arms. When she heard Lin Xian's words, she opened her eyes reluctantly. Ever since Tian recognized him as his master, his cultivation had returned to the king realm. At this moment, he shook his tails gently. On one of his tails, a red arm appeared and quickly reached down. Chapter 1434. An arm that was thousands of meters long fell from the sky like the palm of a demon. Boom. In the next moment, the red arm slammed into the defensive array below, causing an earth-shattering explosion. The entire mountain range, within a radius of 1,000 miles, began to tremble violently. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The earth trembled, and countless cracks spread out in all directions like the mouth of an abyss. At this moment, everyone was terrified. "Block it! You must block it!" Countless experts in the Black Dragon sect shouted angrily. More people quickly activated the array to defend. Their scalps went numb, and they were shocked. They did not expect the other party to be so powerful that a slap could almost break through the defensive array. In the distant mountain range, Venerable Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. What kind of technique was that? How could it be so terrifying? What was going on with that 1,000-meter-long arm? It was as if a god had stretched out his arm from the sky. It was too terrifying. Rumble, rumble, crack, crack, crack. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the arm smashed through the defensive array and headed towards the Black Dragon sect. Suddenly, several mountains were shattered and gravel flew everywhere. The earth sank as if there was an earthquake. Retreat, retreat quickly. Venerable Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, and Ba Wuji quickly retreated. This was because the place where they were originally standing had suddenly cracked open. The entire ground was overturned and ruptured, forming a ruin. This was only the periphery. In the center of the mountain range, the entire Black Dragon sect was completely destroyed. Hundreds of mountains were razed to the ground, and the Black Dragon Hall in the center was penetrated by a slap. The ground caved in for 10,000 meters. The disciples of the demonic sect were even more miserable. They did not have the chance to escape from the slap. In an instant, their bodies exploded and turned into blood mist. The earth caved in, and huge rocks flew everywhere. The blood mist filled the air, and the pungent smell of blood instantly spread. When the blood-red palm disappeared, the entire Black Dragon sect was razed to the ground. Not only that, but there was a bottomless abyss on the ground. It was as if it was connected to the 9 nether hell and emitted a cold aura. Most of the Black Dragon cult martial artists had been killed by that palm strike. However, a small portion of them had managed to escape this calamity. However, at this moment, he was also lying on the ground. His body was constantly twitching, and his face was abnormally pale. Fear, deep fear. That palm just now was too terrifying. It was like a palm that could destroy the world. In an instant, the entire Black Dragon cult was completely destroyed. This kind of technique was too terrifying. They had never seen it before. Perhaps even the left and right messengers would not be able to use it. Only their Black Dragon religious leader was capable of such a feat. However, the other party was also able to do so. This meant that the other party's strength was definitely extremely powerful. At the very least, it exceeded their understanding. It was very likely that he was the legendary king. Could it be that the hierarch is really dead? Seeing this scene, everyone felt despair. They now believed that the Black Dragon leader had really been killed. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't have dared to directly attack their headquarters. In the distance, Reverend Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, Infinite Tyrant, and the others were shocked, and their scalps went numb. They looked at the ruins in front of them with terrified expressions. What kind of technique was this? With just a slap, the Black Dragon sect and the entire mountain range were destroyed. This technique was too terrifying. A king. The other party must be a king. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to have such a technique. The group of elders had terrified looks on their faces. Venerable Green Lotus also took a deep breath. From the looks of it, the Black Dragon religious leader might really have been killed. Thinking of this, they gasped and their scalps went numb. They could not believe it. That was a peerless, ferocious person who had shaken the entire Southern Heaven region. But he had been killed. This was a shocking event. Look, someone is coming down. At this moment, the disciple called Zhao Ping pointed to the sky and exclaimed, "That's right, it's that thing." Just now, It streaked across the sky. Hearing this, Reverend Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, and the others looked forward with rapt attention. In the next moment, they saw a huge spiritual boat descending rapidly from the Sky Palace. However, the spiritual boat did not land. Instead, it stopped when it was 100 meters above the ground. Then, several figures came down from the spiritual boat like lightning and instantly appeared on the ground. These people were also floating in the air because there was no ground in front of them. It was a bottomless abyss. These people were naturally Lin Xian and the others. Luo Bingshan frowned and looked into the distance coldly. "Who is it? Come out." In fact, it was not only him. Lin Xian, Mu Qingcheng, and the others also felt that there was a strong aura in the distance, and there were quite a few of them. They did not know who it was, but if it was the Black Dragon religious leader, they would not let it go. "Oh no, we've been discovered." Reverend Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, and the others turned pale. This was because the cold snort in front of them had exploded in their ears. Obviously, they had been discovered. Get out. Since they had destroyed the Black Dragon religious leader, they should not be evil people. Reverend Green Lotus took a deep breath and quickly flew out. He shouted, "Don't do anything. We are not from the Black Dragon religious leader." Seeing Reverend Green Lotus appear, the others also took a deep breath and quickly followed behind. Then nearly 50 to 60 martial artists all rose into the air and appeared in the sky. "Master?" Luo Bingshan looked at Lin Xian with a questioning look in her eyes. However, her hand was still holding the long saber at her waist. As long as Lin Xian gave the order, she would definitely take action. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He looked at the people in the distance and revealed a surprised look. "Don't do anything. They are not from the Black Dragon religious leader." In front, Reverend Green Lotus, Ba Wuji, Prince Heavenly Flame, and the others were flying carefully. Soon, they saw the scene in front of them. In the void, there were 4 figures floating. The one in front was a young man in his 20s. He was tall and handsome. He wore a green shirt, and there was a snow-white monkey on his shoulder. Beside the young man was a red snake. It stood in the void and bared its fangs and claws. It was a strange sight. On the other side of the young man was a lady in purple. She was beautiful like a fairy. In her arms was a furry little fox. It had 9 tails. Beside her was a mysterious lady in a black robe. She wore a golden mask on her face that shone coldly under the sun. The man and the 2 ladies were all in their 20s. They were very young. What? Reverend Green Lotus and the others were shocked. They did not expect the other party to be so young. That's not right. Why are they so young? Could it be that they were not the ones who attacked? Chapter 1435. Not only Venerable Green Lotus, but everyone in the Martial Alliance was also suspicious. They did not believe that such a young man could be a challenger. One had to know that this was something that was simply impossible. However, when they looked at the cultivation of the other party, they were shocked. Their faces turned pale, and many of them even trembled. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. Everyone's aura was as deep as the abyss. Unfathomable, especially the red snake at the side. It had an aura that made their hearts palpitate. Who are these people? They felt numb and did not dare to act rashly. We're not from the Black Dragon sect. We're from the Martial Alliance. We're here to ambush the Black Dragon sect. Venerable Green Lotus took a deep breath and explained quickly. He did not want to be misunderstood. If the other party attacked, they would have no chance of survival. "I know. Don't worry." Venerable Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, Infinite Tyrant, long time no see. "Where's Zhou Jianying? Why don't I see her?" Xian said calmly. Venerable Green Lotus, Prince Heavenly Flame, and Infinite Tyrant were shocked. They could not believe it. They did not expect the other party to know him. In the next moment, the three of them raised their heads and looked ahead carefully. Then their heads exploded. You are? It's you? Everyone was shocked. They were too frightened previously and did not notice the other party's appearance. Now that they took a closer look, the young man in front of them was looking at them with a smile. It's you, Lin Xian. It's you. Prince Heavenly Flame screamed in shock. As for the people behind him, they all looked at each other in dismay. Many of them even revealed puzzled expressions. What's going on? Does Prince Heavenly Flame know the person in front? Ba Wuji sucked in a breath of cold air. His eyes widened in disbelief. Venerable Green Lotus's body began to tremble. Lin Xian? Who is he? Elder, do you know him? The others asked. Venerable Green Lotus sighed. He's Lin Xian. He's from the Tianan region. What? He's from the Tianan region? Everyone was shocked. They could not believe it. Since when did such a powerful figure appear in their Tianan region? At this moment, Venerable Green Lotus continued. He was the champion of the previous Azure Dragon Association, but after that, he left the Heavenly South region. I didn't expect it to appear again. What? He was the champion of the previous Azure Dragon Society. Everyone cried out in surprise. Soon after, many people recalled something. Right, that's right, it's him. It's really him. I saw him at the Azure Dragon Society last time, but I didn't think it would really be him. Among these Martial League members, a small portion of them had survived back then, while most of them had risen in recent years. Therefore, although most people did not recognize Lin Xian, a small number of people recognized him after being reminded by Elder Green Lotus. Immediately, these people cried out in surprise. Soon, they learned of Lin Xian's experience. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air as they stared ahead in disbelief. Lin Xian, is the Black Dragon Hierarch really dead? At this moment, Elder Green Lotus asked again. To be honest, he could not believe this news. After all, the Black Dragon Hierarch was an extremely terrifying existence. He had to be sure. Yes, he's dead. I killed him. Lin Xian nodded. What? You killed him? Everyone's jaws dropped. They were all shocked by this news. This was 2F * King shocking. A 20-year-old young man had actually killed the overlord of the Tianan region. Everyone swallowed their saliva. Even Overlord Wuji asked, in a trembling voice, Lin Xian, are you already a king? Lin Xian shook his head. Not yet, but killing a king is not difficult. Everyone's mind went blank. They only wanted to vomit blood. Killing a king was not difficult? Why did it sound like a dream? Forget it, I won't ask anymore. I don't want my heart to be unable to take it. Everyone shook their heads. On the other hand, Lin Xian ordered Luo Bingshan to cripple all the surviving Black Dragon Hierarch martial artists' cultivation. Luo Bingshan nodded. Then she waved her arm. Countless rays of saber light flew out from her fingertips. They quickly spread out in all directions and sank into the bodies of the Black Dragon Hierarch martial artists. Instantly, screams of agony rang out. In an instant, those who were still alive had their cultivation crippled. Lin Xian did not kill them. However, crippling their cultivation could prevent them from doing evil in the future. The Black Dragon Hierarch's base camp has been destroyed. I guess there are still some remaining forces in other places. I'll leave the rest to the Martial Alliance. Lin Xian turned around again and looked at Venerable Green Lotus. Don't worry, we'll definitely take care of the rest. Venerable Green Lotus nodded quickly. They were already at odds with the Black Dragon Hierarch. Even if Lin Xian did not say anything, they would do their best to gather people and eliminate the Black Dragon Hierarch in other places. Now that they had Lin Xian's help, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Lin Xian pondered for a moment before speaking again in a deep voice. The Tianan region has been plunged into misery and suffering for a long time. I don't want anything similar to happen again. As he spoke, Lin Xian exuded a terrifying aura. It was as though a divine sword had been unsheathed. It was extremely sharp. Furthermore, the Xia country is my hometown. I don't want anything to happen to it in the future. As for the demonic abyss, there are no more subdivine gems in it. There's no need to waste time looking for them. I hope that the Martial Alliance can lead the Tianan region and build a prosperous world. However, I don't want you to become another black dragon hierarch. Although Lin Xian did not have any obvious intention of threatening them, Venerable Green Lotus and the rest were still trembling in fear. That was because the aura was too terrifying. It was as though a god was looking down on them. Don't worry, we won't become the second black dragon hierarch. Venerable Green Lotus shook his head immediately. Lin Xian nodded and retracted his aura. He did not stay there any longer. Instead, he turned around and flew away with Murong Qingcheng and the rest onto the spiritual boat in the sky. Then, the spiritual boat shone and turned into a bolt of lightning, leaving the place in an instant. Venerable Green Lotus and the rest only heaved a sigh of relief after Lin Xian, and the rest had left for a long time. Then they slumped onto the ground. Terrifying. It's too terrifying. The group of seniors turned pale. Has he become so powerful? Crown Prince Heavenly Flame's body was also trembling slightly. He did not expect that someone whose strength was similar to his back then would grow to such a level in just a few years. He could only look up to him. Overlord Wuji sighed as well. His heart was filled with helplessness. Venerable Green Lotus took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Remember what I said today. Don't become the second black dragon hierarch. Otherwise our doomsday will come." Everyone nodded heavily and did not dare to act rashly. They had no choice. The scene of the black dragon hierarch being annihilated was too terrifying. They would probably never forget it for the rest of their lives. Don't go to the Devil Abyss. According to what we know now, those who haven't reached the King Realm will only be courting death. Instead of angering Lin Xian, why don't we withdraw all of our people from the Xia country? Got it. I'll do it as soon as I return. Also, immediately mobilize all of our forces and launch a counterattack. We must eliminate the remaining forces of the Black Dragon Hierarch. It's time for the Black Dragon Hierarch to become history. Chapter 1436. Lin Xian and the rest easily annihilated the Black Dragon Sect's headquarters and quickly returned. The Black Dragon Sect's sect leader had been killed. Not only that, the entire Black Dragon Sect's left and right envoys for Great Protectors and 8 Great Hall Masters had all been killed. It could be said that the Black Dragon Sect's elites were all gone. There was no need for him to worry about the rest. With the Martial Alliance's strength, they could definitely eliminate them. Therefore, Lin Xian's thoughts were no longer on the Tianan region. He was prepared to return to the Tianwu continent. Firstly, he wanted to see if his father had come out of seclusion. Secondly, he wanted to get rid of the Duan clan. Otherwise, he would not be at ease moving the Lin clan's clansmen to the Tianwu continent. Soon, Lin Xian and the rest returned to the Black Earth. This time, Lin Xian's main purpose was to instruct He Tu to take good care of Old Master Lin and the rest of the Lin clan. Little Xian, don't worry. We're very safe here. Moreover, this place is very suitable for cultivation, Old Master Lin said with a smile. Yes, we'll wait for your safe return, Second Uncle Lin said with a smile. Next, Lin Xian left behind some natural treasures. He even took out a lot of old-time tea for Old Master Lin and the rest to consume. After everything was arranged properly, he brought Murong Qingcheng, Falling Ice Mountain, and the Crimson Dragon onto the spirit boat and quickly left the Xia country. This time, his departure was similar to when he came. However, his cultivation had undergone a drastic change. Other than that, there were some additional things. There was a 9-tailed fox, and he took 30 subdivine crystals with him. As for the rest, he left them all on the Black Earth. According to his calculations, to return to the Tianmu continent, they would have to cross the endless ocean. This would take more than half a year. Therefore, Lin Xian and the rest began to cultivate as soon as they arrived. Although Lin Xian now had the king realm, he did not relax. After all, his cultivation was not at the king realm. He had to raise his cultivation to the king realm as soon as possible. Only then would his strength increase. Lin Xian didn't need subdivinity crystals to improve his cultivation base. Therefore, Lin Xian quickly circulated the longevity incantation to cultivate. At the same time, he was also multitasking, cultivating the Furious Dragon Mantra and the Heavenly Divination Visualization Chart. Of these two techniques, one cultivated the body, while the other cultivated the soul. They could turn him into an all-round expert. Not only that, but Lin Xian also spent a lot of time and effort researching the king's domain. After all, this was his main source of energy in the future. Now, his horizons were much broader than before, and he knew that there were 9 great realms. Above the king realm, there were still saints and the legendary great emperor. The king realm cultivated domains, whereas at the saint realm, one cultivated a world, and one was able to establish a minor world that was independent of a large world. Lin Xian knew that the small world was evolved from the domain. Therefore, Lin Xian tried to throw his various martial spirits into the dragon sword domain to evolve. Just like that, time passed little by little. At the same time, the situation in the Tianmu continent was also changing. Primeval forest deep in the canyon, the heavenly netherbird laughed wildly again. There were only 2 astral chains left on its body. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before the restrictions on the astral chains were completely broken. At that time, it would become a peerless beast once again. Ha ha! There are only 2 left. Brat Lin, just you wait. One day, I'll tear you apart with my own hands. A ferocious voice rang out from the depths of the canyon, as if a demon was roaring. No one knew about the heavenly netherbird's change because it had hidden it too well. However, another gust of wind blew across the Tianmu continent. The good situation that Lin Xian had built up earlier had collapsed in an instant. The alliance that had been built with the longevity pill and old-time tea had collapsed in an instant. Many people had left Lin Xian's side and joined the Duan family. It could be said that the situation in the Palace of Gods of War had become extremely tense and dangerous. Fortunately, Wang Li Yufei, Dongfang Xiong, and the others had already left. They had long since retreated to the Immortal Martial Academy and weren't in any danger. However, their businesses had suffered a serious blow. There was only one reason for this change. The Duan family's patriarch had come out of seclusion. Not only that, but he had also successfully entered the king realm and became a king. A king realm was an extremely powerful existence. There weren't many of them in the Tianmu continent. Every one of them was a powerhouse who stood at the pinnacle of the continent. Now, there was another king realm expert. This was something that hadn't happened in the Tianmu continent for thousands of years. Because the Duan family's patriarch had become a king realm expert, the situation in the Tianmu continent had changed dramatically. No matter how magical the longevity pill was, it couldn't compare to the threat of a king realm expert. Now, who would dare to ally with Lin Xian's side? That would be courting death. Lin Xian hadn't appeared in the Tianmu continent for a long time. No one knew where he had gone. There were even rumors that he had left the Tianmu continent. On the Palace of Gods of War's side, Lin Zhan was still in seclusion. Therefore, the entire Palace of Gods of War had lost its backbone. The rest of the people couldn't withstand the fury of a king realm expert. Especially when the Duan family's patriarch found out that his grandson, Prince Lingfeng, had been killed, he was extremely furious. Therefore, the first thing he did after coming out of seclusion was to issue a kill order. He swore that he would capture Lin Xian and tear him into pieces. For a time, the world was in an uproar, because this was the fury of a king realm expert. Millions of corpses would fall, and blood would flow for thousands of miles. Immediately, many people started to worry for Lin Xian. However, the Duan family's allies sneered. They had long found Lin Xian an eyesore. Now that they saw him being hunted, they were naturally happy. On the other hand, the Palace of Gods of War and Senma College were worried. Fortunately, they were slightly relieved that Lin Xian wasn't in the Tianwu continent at the moment. Therefore, the kill order was useless for the time being. However, the matter of the Duan family's patriarch becoming a king realm expert was more troublesome, because the current Duan family could no longer be compared to before. It was a true house of kings. Therefore, in just 3 days, the Palace of Gods of War changed owners again. Those people from before were directly beaten out, and the Duan family directly moved in and became the new owners. This time, the Duan family's patriarch personally took action, so the Palace of Gods of War suffered heavy losses. Many elders and experts died. Fortunately, Senma College acted in time and saved most of them. Otherwise, the Palace of Gods of War's losses would have been even more tragic. Damn it, really damn it. The remaining forces of the Palace of Gods of War all retreated to Senma College. Among them, the 9th Elder and the 10th Elder were so angry that they vomited blood. They had no choice. They really didn't expect the Duan family's patriarch to break through and become a true king realm expert. They had no power to fight back at all. Chapter 1437. Now, even if Senma College starts a war with him, I'm afraid we won't be able to do anything to him. Dean Xian shook his head slightly. After all, the strength of a true king was too terrifying. Unless Lin Zhan comes out of seclusion. But now, I don't know when he will come out of seclusion. The group of people shook their heads and sighed. The elders of War God Red were even more worried. This was because the current situation was simply too terrible. We are not worried about the Palace Master. That array is very terrifying. Even a king can't break it. However, we are very worried about the young master. Those people from the Duan family have given the kill order. Now, many experts are frantically looking for the young master, although they can't find him now. If the young master doesn't know the situation when he comes back, he will definitely be discovered. If the young master is in any danger, then we are really finished. The 9th Elder and the others were anxious. They decided to secretly look for Lin Xian. At least they had to send the news out. The rise of the Duan family's patriarch caused a change in the Tianwu continent. Not only that, he first gave the kill order and went all out to hunt down Lin Xian. Not long after, he released another piece of news. It was naturally a celebration. The Duan family's patriarch had become a king. This was a major event that shook the world. Naturally, everyone would be gathered. Firstly, it was to display the Duan family's strength. Secondly, it was to redistribute the benefits. Although there were many factions and countries in the Tianwu continent, behind them stood the powerful families. In other words, the House of Kings was the overlord of the Tianwu continent. In the past, the structure of the Tianwu continent had already been formed. It had not changed for thousands of years. However, it was different now. A new king had appeared, and the Duan family naturally became the House of Kings. Naturally, they wanted a share of the pie. In fact, the Duan family's thinking was very simple. They wanted to replace the Palace of Gods of War and become the true overlord. As for the resources of the Palace of Gods of War, they naturally wanted to replace them. However, in recent years, the Palace of Gods of War had consumed a lot of resources due to internal strife. Therefore, this time, they wanted to take back everything that they had lost in the past. This banquet could be said to be the most prestigious one in the past 1,000 years. This banquet did not just invite the elders of the sixth-rank sections. He was a true king. At that time, the Murong family, the Shin family, Senma College, and the Merry Forest House of Kings would all come. It could be said that being able to attend the Duan clan's banquet represented a certain level of strength. Of course, the Duan clan's patriarch had another idea, and that was to form an alliance. It didn't mean that one wouldn't have enemies after becoming a king. Furthermore, he was a new king. His strength was naturally weaker than those old king-level kings. More importantly, Lin Zhan was still alive. This was his greatest enemy. If the other party came out of seclusion, then he would be his greatest enemy. Therefore, he had to form an alliance in advance and find good helpers to deal with future changes. It would be best if they could join forces during the banquet and directly destroy the place where the other party was in seclusion. Kill Lin Zhan. This news swept through the entire sky martial continent like a hurricane. For a time, all the major forces quickly took action. Not only that, the action of the Duan clan did not end. Firstly, they were wantonly hunting down Lin Xian's tracks. As long as they found him, they would immediately kill him. Secondly, those forces that had a good relationship with Lin Xian in the past were all suppressed. Even the deity sword villa was suppressed. This was because in front of a king, the powerful deity sword villa and sword supremacy were unable to resist. Senma College's forces were also affected to a certain extent. Fortunately, Senma College was a king's force after all. With a king suppressing them, the Duan clan did not dare to go too far. However, their small actions were continuous. However, just as the situation was changing, a spirit boat flew over from the sea. This spirit boat was very fast and had been flying at an extremely high altitude. Therefore, when it entered the sky martial continent, no one noticed it. This spirit boat was naturally Lin Xian's. When they entered the sky martial continent, everyone opened their eyes. We're finally back. Murong Qingqing looked at the familiar mountains and rivers below and smiled. Even the nine-tailed fox in her arms looked down curiously. So powerful. I can feel several powerful forces here. Are they all kings? It shrank its head. It did not expect that there would be such experts on the sky martial continent. Their auras surpassed it. Not only that, the spiritual qi on this continent was even denser, which surprised it. One had to know that it could cultivate now, so the spiritual qi here was very important to it. Yes, we're back. I wonder what changes have happened here. Lin Xian also looked down at the mountains and rivers below, his eyes shining. Kid, where are we going first? The Crimson Dragon asked. Let's go back to Senma College first. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then said slowly. Then the group accelerated and flew in the direction of Senma College. The sky martial continent was very vast. It was several times larger than the Tianan region, so the journey was very long. It would probably take more than a month. Therefore, Lin Xian went into seclusion again. However, the Crimson Dragon, the nine-tailed fox, and the snow-white monkey did not go into seclusion. Among them, the Crimson Dragon was sleeping on one side, while the nine-tailed fox was curiously looking down. After all, this place was a new world for it. But soon, it frowned and kept grinding its teeth, because with its king's soul power, it could naturally hear the discussions below. Therefore, along the way, it found many people looking around with cold expressions, as if they were looking for something. And from those people's words, it kept hearing the name Lin Xian. Lin Xian? Could it be someone with the same name? The nine-tailed fox did not understand why these people were looking for Lin Xian, so It went to ask the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Monkey. After hearing that, the Crimson Dragon said lazily, "There must be someone with the same name, but if you want to talk about the famous Lin Xian in the continent, you can only use the one in front of you. Why are you asking this?" Now that they were familiar with each other, there was no longer the hostility from before. "I saw a lot of people down there trying to capture Lin Xian. The nine-tailed fox spread its little paws. Is he some kind of fugitive? Why are there so many people trying to capture him? What? There's such a thing? Let me see." The Crimson Dragon jumped up and looked down. To be honest, it did not believe that such a thing would happen. After all, Lin Xian was the young master of the palace of Ares. How could he be wanted? Unless something unexpected had happened here. Sure enough, the Crimson Dragon found the same thing. On the mountains and rivers below, countless warriors were asking for Lin Xian's whereabouts. Damn, what's going on? Chapter 1438. To be honest, the Crimson Dragon could not believe that something like this would happen. One must know that Lin Xian was the young master of the palace of Ares. His status was very high. How could he be wanted by someone? Unless something unexpected had happened here. As expected, the Crimson Dragon found the same situation. Below the mountains and rivers, countless warriors were asking for Lin Xian's whereabouts. Damn, what's going on? The Crimson Dragon knew that something had happened. He quickly knocked on Lin Xian's door and told him the situation. After hearing this, Lin Xian also looked around. His face immediately darkened. "Kid, what's going on? It wasn't like this when we left. It's only been 2 or 3 years. How could there be such a huge change?" The Crimson Dragon asked. "The Duan clan." Lin Xian's expression was cold. He did not need to think to know that it was the Duan clan's doing, because in the Tianwu continent, only the Duan clan dared to go against him. But before he left, the Duan clan had already suffered heavy losses. The entire clan even went into seclusion. But he did not expect that the other party would be so high profile and pursue him. Something unexpected must have happened. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Since the other party dares to be so arrogant, it means that they are not afraid of our alliance. Damn it, could it be that the Duan clan's patriarch? Lin Xian suddenly thought of a possibility. His face darkened. Once this thought came to mind, Lin Xian could not sit still, because if this was true, it would be terrible. His alliance would definitely collapse in an instant. Not only that, the palace of Ares would also be in danger. "Rosalong, quickly go down and catch a few people for me." Lin Xian's voice was urgent. Even Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan came out to ask. When they learned of the situation, their expressions were grave. "You mean to say that the Duan clan's patriarch succeeded?" "That's right. There's probably only one possibility as to why the Duan clan dares to be so arrogant. Other than that, I can't think of any other possibilities." Lin Xian shook his head slightly. "It can't be, right? If the Duan family's old ancestor really succeeds, then this will be the most shocking event in the Tianwu continent in the past few thousand years." Murong Qingqing's expression was also grave. She naturally knew the serious consequences of this matter. Perhaps the entire Martial Heaven continent situation would change. Soon, the dark red divine dragon returned and brought 2 warriors with him. These 2 martial artists were the ones who had been searching below, but they had been suddenly beaten senseless and brought to the surface. Now that they were woken up by the dark red dragon, they immediately shouted arrogantly, "You're courting death. How dare you kidnap us? Do you know who we are? We're from the Duan clan. If you offend us, you'll have to bear the consequences." This attitude is very arrogant. It's almost the same as the Black Dragon sect. Didn't your Duan clan hole up a few years ago? Why are you running out and being so arrogant now? The Crimson Dragon asked coldly. The two people still did not understand their situation and looked at the Crimson Dragon as if he was an idiot. You must be new here, right? You don't even know our Duan clan? Listen up, our Duan clan is the new House of Kings. We're the overlords of this continent. Hurry up and let us go. Kneel down and kowtow. Otherwise, if you anger our Duan clan, you'll definitely regret it for the rest of your life. What? The new House of Kings. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were also greatly shocked. They knew that things were as they had guessed. The Duan clan's old ancestor had really become a House of Kings. You're saying that the Duan clan's old ancestor has become a House of Kings? When did this happen? Lin Xian asked coldly. How dare you? How dare you say the name of our old ancestor? The man shouted coldly, but in the next moment he was stunned. Soon, a look of shock appeared in his eyes. He pointed at Lin Xian and trembled all over. It's you. You're that Lin Xian. They had portraits in their hands, and Lin Xian was the person they wanted to capture, so they knew him very well. But they did not expect him to appear at this time. It's really you? Ha ha! Kid, you're dead meat. How dare you provoke our Duan clan? This time, no one can save you. Hurry up and kneel down and come back with us obediently. Maybe we can keep your corpse intact. Otherwise, everyone related to you will be killed. The two people roared crazily with arrogant expressions. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then, with a wave of his hand, the two people's legs were immediately broken with a crack. In the next moment, the two people knelt on the ground. Large beads of sweat flowed from their heads. You're courting death. How dare you hurt us? You're dead meat. The two people were still roaring crazily, but in the next moment, a strong hand grabbed their heads. Very soon, the two people felt a piercing pain in their souls. Their eyes rolled back, and they lost consciousness. Lin Xian used the soul-searching skill and directly collected their souls. Then, he snorted coldly. 2 balls of black fire floated out from his body and burned the two people to ashes. Since they were enemies, Lin Xian would not show mercy. How is it? Murong Qingcheng asked from the side. The Duan clan's patriarch really became a challenger, and he just became a challenger a few months ago. At this point, Lin Xian's expression became extremely cold. Damn it! How dare you massacre the people of the palace of Ares? He found out everything that had happened in the past few months from the two people's souls. When he found out that the Duan clan's patriarch had ordered to kill him and everyone related to him, Lin Xian's expression became extremely cold, especially when he found out that the palace of Ares was once again heavily damaged and had no choice but to retreat. Lin Xian exuded an extremely terrifying killing intent. He did not expect that the Duan clan's patriarch would dare to attack the palace of Ares. This made him extremely angry. Old dog of the Duan clan, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then he quickly controlled the spirit boat and flew towards the palace of Ares. Instantly, the entire spirit boat exploded with an extremely bright light. It turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly streaked across the sky. It was as if a sharp sword had sliced through the void. In the Tianwu continent, the Duan clan's banquet was getting closer and closer. The entire Tianwu continent was bustling with activity. Not only that, the Duan clan had also gained a lot recently, as they were frantically searching for Lin Xian, the 9th elder, and the rest were very worried. Hence, they secretly came out to search for Lin Xian. Unexpectedly, they were discovered by the Duan clan and immediately arrested and sent back to the palace of Ares. When the Duan clan's patriarch and the martial supremacy found out, they sneered sinisterly. They decided that they would kill the 9th elder and the people of the palace of Ares on the spot during the meeting. He wanted everyone to know the consequences of going against the Duan clan. Chapter 1439. Duan Family, Palace of War Gods. Ever since the news of the Duan family's ancestor becoming a king spread, the various forces in Tiemu continent began to take action. Today, it was still very close to the Duan family's banquet, and many people had already arrived. It had to be said that the banquet this time was of a very high level. It was absolutely terrifying. The entire palace of war gods was filled with martial experts. These people walked like dragons and tigers, and their auras were dense. They could be said to be the elites of Tianwu continent. Those forces that had been relying on the Duan family were extremely happy because this time they could also rise in status and obtain great benefits. Those forces that had been neutral also wanted to join the Duan family, this new house of kings. They might even be put in an important position. Of course, when the Duan family was mentioned, the Palace of War Gods, and Lin Xian had to be mentioned, because just a few years ago, Lin Xian had personally killed Prince Lingfeng, who was the future hope of the Duan family. This could be said to be an irreconcilable hatred. Furthermore, when the Duan family's ancestor came out of seclusion, he issued a kill order and swore to kill Lin Xian. However, after such a long time, there was still no trace of Lin Xian. This shocked everyone. Some people even guessed that Lin Xian was no longer in Tianwu continent. Otherwise, with the Duan family's current strength and prestige, it was impossible for them to not find him. Hee, don't worry. As long as that kid is here, he will definitely come. Because at this Duan family's banquet, they will publicly kill many elders of the Palace of War Gods. Yeah, I heard about it too. I'm afraid the Duan family's goal is to lure Lin Xian out. No matter what the outcome is, that Lin Xian is finished. He will definitely be killed if he shows up. However, if he doesn't show up, he will definitely become a coward and be despised by everyone. Yeah, this Lin Xian can be considered unlucky. 2 or 3 years ago, his name shook Tianwu continent and could be said to be one of the top geniuses of the younger generation. With his strength alone, the entire Duan family couldn't raise their heads. But who would have thought that in a short 2 or 3 years, the situation would change so drastically? That's because the Duan clan's old ancestor is so powerful that he was able to break through and become a king. This is something that has never happened in the Sky Martial continent for thousands of years. In the cities near the Palace of Ares, there were warriors discussing similar topics everywhere. Now, everyone respected the Duan clan. No one cared about Lin Xian and the remaining forces of the Palace of Ares. The Palace of Gods of War was majestic and domineering. Countless palaces covered the mountains. It was surrounded by spiritual mountains and immortal grass. Between the towering mountains and precipitous ridges, countless pavilions were arranged like stars. Although the internal strife over the years had caused the Palace of Ares to expend quite a bit of its strength, there was still no one who could shake this colossus. And the region it occupied was one of the most fertile regions in the Sky Martial continent. At this moment, all the experts of the Martial Heaven continent were gathering the war god art. Whether it was the older generation's experts or the younger generation's geniuses, they were all gathered. In fact, the kings of the various king clans would also appear at the final banquet. It could be said that this was a scene that made countless people excited. After all, it was rare to see a king tier in ordinary times, but this time there would be 5 king tiers. Looking at this grand scene, the Duan clan's ancestor was very happy. He did not appear but sent out martial honors and the younger generation's disciples to welcome them. They had to use the highest standards to invite everyone in. He waited quietly for the arrival of the other 4 kings. And outside in the mountains, it was even more lively. Countless young warriors were walking, exchanging pointers, chatting and laughing, drinking wine. The atmosphere was very jubilant. At this moment, a cry of surprise was heard. "Look, young Master Anil is here." It was unknown who shouted, but immediately everyone stopped in their tracks and raised their heads to look forward. The four young masters of the martial heaven continent, Prince Ling Feng, young Master Anil, young Master Qilin, and young Master Treading Moon. These were the top four of the younger generation. However, Prince Ling Feng had already been killed by Lin Xian. So now, in the Sky Martial Continent, there were only 3 young masters left, and this Merry Forest's young Master Anil was one of them. Sure enough, in the next moment the crowd dispersed, and a youth in white slowly walked over. He held a folding fan in his hand, and his expression was very confident. Around him there were a few elders. Their auras were very powerful, and when their gazes moved, even the void trembled slightly. Young Master Anil's arrival immediately caused a group of warriors to be excited, and they all surrounded young Master Anil. That scene was very spectacular. Indeed, these people were originally the heroes of the younger generation, but ever since young Master Anil arrived, it was as if everyone's radiance had disappeared, and young Master Anil became the only one in everyone's eyes. Everyone, no need to be so reserved. Just act as usual. Young Master Anil gently waved his folding fan and said with a smile, different from Prince Ling Feng's arrogance. Young Master Anil's face always had a smile, and his mood was very confident. He did not seem to have any arrogance. This also allowed everyone to let out a slight sigh of relief. At least the other party did not put on an overbearing appearance, but at this moment someone exclaimed, "Look, it's young Master Qilin." Everyone was shocked again, and they all turned their heads. At the back, another group of people walked over. The person in front was tall and straight with a handsome face and a powerful aura. He was not any weaker than young Master Anil. He was the Shun family's young Master Qilin. This young Master Qilin's temper was not as good as young Master Anil's. His face was always incomparably cold, with a trace of arrogance. He did not put the surrounding people in his eyes. Looking at him, his character was somewhat similar to that of the deceased Prince Ling Feng. "Brother Shen, long time no see." Young Master Anil waved his folding fan, looked at young Master Qilin, and said with a smile, "Humph, don't play dumb with me. Last time, you snatched 3 of my spirit veins. How do you want to settle this debt?" Young Master Qilin showed an overbearing aura the moment he came up. Even when facing young Master Anil, he did not back down. "Brother Shen's words are wrong. Those 3 spirit veins were originally discovered by my merry woods. How can it be said that I snatched them from your hands?" Young Master Anil said with a smile, "Stop talking nonsense. No matter what you say, this matter will not end like this. After this banquet, I want to ask you for advice. I want to see what kind of breakthrough your cultivation has recently. You actually dare to touch the things that I want. All right, if you want to exchange pointers, then I will naturally accompany you." Young Master Anil was still smiling, but his eyes had a trace of sharpness. Seeing 2 young masters whose names shook the continent competing, the other martial artists did not dare to speak and could only listen quietly. They were very clear about this kind of matter. Although both of them were top prodigies, the family forces that they represented were not the same. It was normal for there to be friction between them. However, they did not expect that young Master Qilin would actually want to fight with young Master Anil. Needless to say, this would be another fierce battle. Brother Morong, you also came?" Chapter 1440. Seeing the 2 famous young masters fighting, the other warriors did not dare to speak. They could only listen quietly. They understood the situation very well. Although the two of them were top prodigies, they represented different families. It was normal for there to be friction between them. However, they did not expect young Master Chelan to want to fight with young Master Anil. Needless to say, it would be another fierce battle. Brother Morong, you're here too? Young Master Anil ignored young Master Chelan and looked behind him again. Brother Morong? Everyone's hearts trembled, and a trace of shock appeared in their eyes. To be addressed by young Master Anil like that, he must not be an ordinary person. Moreover, they had already guessed who he was. Young Master Moonwalker. That's right, young Master Moonwalker of the Morong family was also one of the 4 young masters of Tianwu. Young Master Moonwalker wore a black robe. His face was calm. He was neither arrogant nor smiling. It was as if nothing in the world could move him. He slowly walked over and greeted young Master Anil and young Master Chelan. Suddenly, the surrounding atmosphere changed. Although the 3 young masters did not speak, the surrounding air seemed to have condensed. It became abnormally heavy. As for the surrounding warriors, their expressions changed drastically as they quietly retreated. They had no choice. Although the 3 of them did not deliberately release their aura, that kind of terror was not something the surrounding warriors could withstand. I didn't expect the 3 of you to come so quickly. Please forgive me for not being a good host. At this moment, a laugh broke the heavy atmosphere. Everyone turned their heads and saw a young man walking over. The man was handsome and wore a golden battle suit. He looked mighty and extraordinary. It's him, Duan Yu, someone exclaimed. Duan Yu? Who is he? What a powerful aura. Is he also a disciple of the Duan family? Everyone was shocked. He's Prince Ling Feng's younger brother. Some of them knew the inside story, so they quickly said it. Hearing this, everyone gasped. Prince Ling Feng's younger brother. No wonder he was so powerful. Thinking about it, he should also be a top prodigy. The Duan family is really something. First, there's Prince Ling Feng in the younger generation. Now, there's such a peerless genius. Could it be that the Duan clan is really going to rise? Hearing this, young Master Anil, young Master Treading Moon, and young Master Chelan all turned to look at the golden-armored man and nodded slightly. Indeed, as the disciple of Prince Ling Feng, the other party was not weak. Although he was not as strong as them, he was not far off. It could be said that he was qualified to talk to them. Seeing that the 3 of them nodded, Duan Yu was overjoyed. She then said in a clear voice, "This way, please." He was indeed happy because these 3 people represented an extraordinary position in the younger generation. His brother used to be such a person, but now his brother was dead. If he wanted to replace his brother and regain the position of young Master Tianwu, he would have to gain the recognition of these 3 people. This was also the reason why the Duan clan had sent him out to receive young Master Anil and the other 2. This was because the Duan clan needed to support another young Master Tianwu. Very soon, young Master Anil and the other 2 were asked to leave. The entire scene quieted down for a moment. Everyone looked at the backs of the 3 of them as they left, feeling envious. But very quickly, they cried out again because more and more important figures arrived at the Palace of Gods of War. The first elder of the Merry Woods has arrived. The Palace Master of the Divine Bird Palace has arrived. The Guardian Elder of the Shen family has come to visit. One after another, great figures descended from the sky while riding on clouds and mist. They either rode on rare and precious beasts or rode on peerless flying treasures. They were like powerful gods that made people look up to them. Following the arrival of these important figures, the Duan clan also sent out elders to invite them in. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. This was because other than the kings of the House of Kings, almost all the powerful figures had arrived. Such a grand event could be said to be rare in 1,000 years. The Palace of Gods of War was filled with immortal mountains, spiritual springs, and all kinds of rare beasts. The entire place was like a paradise on earth. Among them, there were also countless experts. All kinds of spiritual wine, spiritual fruits, and precious spiritual tea were all placed on the table. It was obvious that the real banquet was about to begin. They knew that it would not begin yet because the kings had not arrived. Not long after, another loud and clear voice sounded. "Ancestor Morong has arrived." Instantly, everyone exclaimed and looked up at the sky. In the sky, a purple cloud flew over. It was like a purple aura that came from the east. It had a mysterious color. On top of the cloud, a figure was sitting cross-legged. This was a middle-aged man in purple. He was expressionless, but he had a powerful aura that made everyone's heart beat faster. They could not help but want to kneel down and worship him. Everyone swallowed their saliva. They knew that the real peerless expert had arrived. This was the ancestor of the Morong family, the real king. "Greetings, Ancestor Morong." Instantly, everyone cheered at the sky. And this time, from the distant immortal palace, an old figure also flew over. "Ha, Cultivator Morong, please come in." It was an old man who flew over from the Palace of Gods. He was tall and had white hair, but his eyes were as sharp as lightning. This was the ancestor of the Duan clan, the new king. The appearance of the two kings pushed the atmosphere of the entire venue to its peak. Instantly, everyone looked up at the sky with excitement. It could not be helped. Kings were the top existences in the continent. Under normal circumstances, they would not be able to see them. But now, they saw two of them at the same time. This was definitely the most unforgettable thing in their lives. "Cultivator Duan, congratulations." Ancestor Morong opened his eyes and smiled at Ancestor Duan. Then, he was invited to the main hall of the Palace of Gods of War by Ancestor Duan. But not long after, another voice sounded. "The merry forest, the merry king has arrived. The ancestor of the Shen family has arrived. Dean Xian of Senma College is here." Soon, all the kings of the Tianwu continent had arrived. Hearing the voices, Ancestor Duan and Ancestor Morong, who had entered the Palace of Gods of War, came out. In the sky, a divine chariot flashed past like a bolt of lightning. Pulling the chariot were 9 white lions. Each of them was as big as a small mountain. They were mighty and had an aura that made people's hearts tremble. This was an ancient species, the ice-snow demon lion. Each of them was extremely precious and could not be bought with money. Moreover, the aura of these ice-snow demon lions was very strong. They had even reached the level of a 9-star demon general. They were extremely terrifying, but at this moment, they could only pull the chariot. This was shocking. Sitting in the chariot was naturally the merry king. Chapter 1441. These ice-snow demonic lions' auras were extremely powerful. They had even reached the level of a 9-star demon general. It could be said that they were extremely terrifying. However, at this moment, they could only pull the carriage. This was extremely shocking. The one sitting in the carriage was naturally the happy king. 8 beautiful women dressed in colorful clothes accompanied the divine palanquin as it walked. They were like fairies floating in the sky. Soon, the entire carriage was suspended in the sky. 2 of the beautiful women half knelt in the sky and gently pulled open the jade curtains. Then, a figure walked out of the carriage. Seeing this figure, everyone was stunned. This was because the person who walked out of the carriage was a young man of about 16 or 17 years old. His figure was thin, his face was handsome, and his eyes were extremely clear. His entire body carried an ethereal aura, as if he was a fairy child. "Who is this?" Everyone was puzzled. No way. Could he be the happy king? Everyone's eyes widened. They could not believe it. because in their opinion, since he was a king, he should be a senior figure. However, the figure in the sky was too young. It was obviously a young man. Even Mary Forrest's young master, Anna, looked older than him. For a moment, everyone was bewildered and stunned. As for the 16 or 17-year-old youth in the sky, he lightly snorted and stood with his hands behind his back. "Fellow N, it's an honor to meet you." The Duan family's patriarch cupped his fists. On the side, Patriarch Morong shook his head slightly. "Old man, you're obviously more than 1,000 years old, but you always like to pretend to be young." Seeing the reactions of the Duan family's patriarch and Patriarch Morong, everyone knew that the young man in front of them should be the happy king. However, they were still extremely shocked because this image was too different from the king they had imagined. The happy king snorted coldly. "What do you know? I'm cultivating so that I can stay young forever. You want to look like this? You can't do it." Hearing the happy king's words, Patriarch Morong smiled and shook his head. At this moment, another laugh came from the sky. "What? According to what you're saying, this old man's cultivation has reached the Tao." Another old voice came. This voice contained powerful energy, so much so that everyone's scalp went numb. There was no need to think too much about it. Just by looking at the energy and the tone, one could tell that this person's identity wasn't any weaker than the happy king. Everyone raised their heads and looked at the sky again. Sure enough, another old man appeared in the sky. The old man sat on a huge golden chariot. The golden chariot radiated light like a sun. The ones pulling the carriage were similarly astonishing, 9 flood dragons. Every single one of them was extremely ferocious and carried a powerful aura. They were all 9-star demon generals. As for the old man, he had the demeanor of a transcendent being, as if he had descended from the heavens. The patriarch of the Shun family. That's right, the old man sitting on the golden chariot was none other than the old ancestor of the Shun family. The merry monarch glanced at the patriarch of the Shin family and snorted, "Old man Shin, in my opinion, your Shin family's Heaven Fall Tai Ching secret art is really not that good. Why don't you cultivate my Mary Forrest Lotus Treasure identification technique? I can guarantee that your strength will increase greatly in a short period of time. You with the surname, and don't give me that. Every time we meet, you always say that my Shin family's Heaven Fall Tai Ching secret art is weak. Whether it's powerful or not, we'll only know after we compete." After saying that, the patriarch of the Shun family snorted, and a powerful aura gushed out from his body. This aura was like the abyss of the sea. Once it appeared, the entire void trembled. The martial artists below felt their scalps go numb. Many of them even knelt on the ground and shivered. This was the aura of a king. They could not resist at all. At this moment, the patriarch of the Duan family hurriedly advised, "Both of you, give me some face. Why don't we all go in together and have tea and talk about cultivation?" On the side, Patriarch Morong waved his hand. Suddenly, the martial artists below trembled. They felt that the terrifying aura had disappeared. Immediately, they heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly bowed to the sky. "Thank you, Senior Morong." Patriarch Morong nodded slightly and said, "Old man Shin, don't be like this every time. If you two want to fight, find a place where there's no one. Even if you two turn the world upside down, I won't care. But don't do it here. You'll scare the kids below." Humph. Hearing that, the patriarch of the Shun family snorted coldly and retracted his aura. Seeing that, the patriarch of the Duan family heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, he frowned slightly. That was because someone was flying in the sky from afar. It was a spirit boat. It was entirely blue and emitted streams of light. It shone brightly like the stars. A middle-aged man stood on the spirit boat. His face was fair and clean, and his eyes were as deep as the stars. His aura was like the abyss of the sea. It was unfathomable. Behind him stood a dozen old men and a few young disciples. This group of people was the martial artists from Senma College. The middle-aged man in front was Dean Xian. The patriarch of the Duan family frowned because Senma College had a very good relationship with the Palace of Ares. They were not on good terms with the Duan family. Although they did not directly attack, they were still on opposite sides. However, this time, he still invited Senma College. After all, they were a king faction and should not be underestimated. However, he did not expect them to really come. This made him a little suspicious, because he knew that they were definitely not here to congratulate him. It was very likely that they were here for the elders of the Palace of Ares that he had captured. However, when he saw that there were only a dozen elders and a few young disciples behind Dean Xian, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart, because with just these few people, they would not be able to do anything. One must know that he was now a true king. He would definitely not be afraid of Dean Xian. As for the rest, they were no match for the Duan family. It could be said that if they dared to attack, he would definitely retaliate mercilessly. Thinking of this, his lips curled into a smile. "Cultivator Xian, I've heard a lot about you." The patriarch of the Duan family narrowed his eyes and said with a smile. No matter how one looked at it, there was a hint of provocation in his expression. At this moment, Patriarch Morong, the happy monarch, and the patriarch of the Shen family also greeted Dean Xian. Dean Xian responded to them one by one. She did not say anything, but her eyes were incomparably deep. Then, the patriarch of the Duan family invited the kings to the main hall of the Palace of Ares. After the kings left, everyone finally heaved a sigh of relief. Then, they all sat on the ground, paralyzed. It could not be helped. It was too terrifying. Even a trace of his aura was not something that they could fight against. This was the power of a king. It was completely above them. This was also why the situation of the Duan family changed drastically when the patriarch of the Duan family became a king. Chapter 1442. The last one to arrive is Senma College's Dean Xian, right? I didn't expect him to come. Someone asked. Yeah, I heard that Dean Xian has always supported the Lin family. I didn't expect him to come to the Duan family's banquet. That's nothing. The Duan family captured many elders from the Palace of Ares. Dean Xian is probably here to plead on their behalf. Moreover, Lin Xian might appear this time. With Dean Xian here, Lin Xian might be able to keep his life. Everyone was discussing and guessing what was going to happen next. Not long after, a low drumming sound could be heard. The sound was long and distant, accompanied by the sound of thunder. Everyone knew that the banquet was about to begin. So in the next moment, everyone rose into the air and flew towards the mountain range in the center. In the mountain range ahead, there was a vast valley. The valley was ethereal and beautiful, with dense spirit chi. Because there were hundreds of precious spirit herbs growing in it, it was called the 100-Herb Valley. The banquet this time was held in the 100-Herb Valley. At this moment, the 100-Herb Valley was already prepared and waiting for everyone to arrive. The valley was huge and could easily accommodate tens of thousands of people. Many warriors entered the 100-Herb Valley and found their seats. If one was careful, they would realize that the furnishings were very particular. It was roughly divided into 5 sections according to the House of Kings. The 5 most dazzling seats were reserved for the 5 kings. Below the throne were the core elders of the House of Kings. They were arranged according to seniority and strength, and among the younger generation, the 4 princes of Tianwu were the most respected. Prince Anil, Prince Qilin, and Prince Moonwalker sat in their respective sections, showing their superior status. From the Duan family's side, Although Prince Ling Feng had been killed, they sent out Duan Yu, who was wearing golden armor. He sat in the same position as the other three princes of Tianwu. Obviously, the Duan family wanted to turn Duan Yu into another prince of Tianwu. Duan Yu sat there with a confident smile on his face. He was too excited. Previously, with his elder brother, Prince Ling Feng, there was no way he could stand out. But now, Prince Ling Feng had been killed. This was something that he couldn't believe even in his dreams. However, this was also the greatest benefit to him because he would become the next young, noble Tianwu. Seeing Duan Yu sitting in the same position as young noble Anil and the others, everyone was shocked. Naturally, they knew what this meant. However, they did not expect that Prince Ling Feng had only been in Hong Kong for a few years, and the Duan family could not wait to create another Prince Tianwu. Young noble Anil, young noble Qilin, and young noble Moonwalker didn't say anything. Even though Duan Yu was weaker than them, there wasn't much of a difference between them. Furthermore, other than Duan Yu, it was unlikely that anyone else could become young Master Tianwu. Furthermore, the ancestor of the Duan clan had just become a king, and the Duan clan had just become a house of kings. There was nothing wrong with letting his disciple become one of the Tianwu young masters. At this time, an elder of the Divine Bird Palace said with a smile, "Young Master Duan Yu may be young, but his talent and strength have already surpassed everyone else. It seems like the next young Master Duan Yu will definitely be the Tianwu Prince." With someone taking the lead, the others naturally began to congratulate him. After Duan Yu heard this, the smile on his face became even wider. His eyes were filled with confidence. He believed that as long as he was given time, he would definitely be able to surpass the previous Prince Ling Feng. However, at this time, a cold snort was heard. Humph, just because young noble Ling Feng is dead, can someone else become young Master Tianwu? Since when did young Master Tianwu become so worthless? Hearing this voice, everyone's expression changed. Many of them even frowned. They wanted to see who it was that dared to speak so arrogantly. However, in the next moment, the voice continued. If it were up to me, if anyone were to choose young Master Tianwu, it would be Lin Xian. Because he killed Prince Ling Feng, his strength is naturally above Prince Ling Feng's. Other than him, I can't think of anyone else who can become the new young Master Tianwu. Boom. When these words were said, everyone was in an uproar. Their heads exploded with a bang. Arrogant. This was too arrogant. Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. To say such words in such a situation, wasn't this a provocation to the Duan family? Just who was it that was so daring? To actually humiliate the Duan family in public, wasn't this courting death? They were indeed shocked. One had to know that the Duan family was no longer the Duan family of the past. It was the real House of Kings. Now, everyone could not wait to be more careful. Yet, someone dared to humiliate the Duan family in such a place. How audacious! Duan Yu's expression immediately darkened. He was like an enraged lion. His gaze was like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. He wasn't the only one. Everyone in the Duan family had gloomy expressions, especially the patriarch of the Duan family. His gaze froze as a terrifying aura emanated from his body. However, when everyone saw the person who had spoken, they were all stunned. This was because the person who had spoken was none other than a disciple of the Shun family. Shun Xiaqi, shut up! Young noble Qilin snorted coldly. That's right, the person who had spoken was Shun Xiaqi. One had to know that he was very grateful to Lin Xian, because Lin Xian had previously cured his sister, Shun Jingqiu. It could be said that Lin Xian was their family's great benefactor. Now, he naturally had to step forward and fight for justice for Lin Xian. Hearing young noble Qilin snort, Shen Jingqiu also raised her small face and said seriously, Xiaqi is right. At this moment, everyone's gaze was focused on the Shun family. Most of them fell on Shen Xiaqi and Shen Jingqiu. They naturally knew that Lin Xian had once saved Shen Jingqiu. That was why he was behaving in such a manner. However, this was the Duan family's banquet after all. The patriarch of the Duan family had just become a king. No matter what reason he had, he could not say such things here. Seeing that it was a disciple of the Shun family and Shun Lingchuan's child, the patriarch of the Duan family did not speak. Instead, he narrowed his eyes. This was because he knew that Shun Lingchuan's status in the Duan family was extraordinary. Moreover, this was a matter between the younger generation. As a king, it was not appropriate for him to intervene. However, Duan Yu did not have such misgivings. He snorted coldly. What right does a piece of trash like Lin Xian have to come to the Tianwu young noble? Humph, if he doesn't have the right, then you do? You have to know that he killed Prince Ling Feng. If it were you, would you be able to do it? Shen Xiaqi did not hold back and continued to slap his face. Hearing this, the faces of the Duan family disciples darkened. This could be said to be a sore spot for them. One of the Tianwu young nobles, Prince Ling Feng, led almost half of the Duan family's experts to hunt down Lin Xian. In the end, they were killed instead. Not only that, not a single person left alive. Countless experts, including Prince Ling Feng, were all annihilated. This was simply unbelievable. Therefore, this matter became a sore spot for the Duan family. No one dared to mention it again. But he didn't expect that it would be brought up again in front of so many people. This was exposing their Duan family's sore spot. Chapter 1443. Humph, that Lin fellow used despicable means to harm my brother. If it was a real battle, he wouldn't be able to win. Duan Yu said through gritted teeth. He didn't want to linger on this topic, so he glared at Shen Xiaqi fiercely. Since you're not convinced, why don't you come down and spar with me? Let's see if I'm qualified to become young Master Tianwu. With that, a terrifying aura rose from Duan Yu's body. Feeling this aura, everyone's heart raced, and their faces were filled with shock. This aura was too powerful. It had already surpassed many older martial artists, and was not much weaker than young Master Anil and the other two. So powerful. No wonder the Duan family wants Duan Yu and young Master Tianwu. I didn't expect him to be so powerful. Yeah, this Duan Yu is younger than Prince Ling Feng by a few years, but his cultivation is infinitely close. I'm afraid in a few years he will surpass Prince Ling Feng. Many people were praising him. At this moment, Shen Xiaqi curled his lips. Humph, how old are you? You're in your 20s, right? How old am I? I'm only 15. You want to spar with me? You're shameless. Someone like you wants to become young Master Tianwu? Have you seen any young Master Tianwu spar with a 15-year-old kid? Shen Xiaqi asked a series of questions with a look of disdain. Duan Yu was so angry that he vomited blood. He was so angry that he didn't notice the other party's age. Looking at it now, the other party was indeed only 15 or 16 years old. Indeed, with his status and cultivation, he couldn't possibly spar with such a young man, especially in front of so many people. However, the other party was acting arrogant and provoking. This angered him to the point of puking blood. Since you know you can't challenge me, then shut your mouth, Duan Yu said coldly. Shut my mouth? Why should I shut my mouth? I won't spar. I won't shut my mouth. What can you do to me? Shen Xiaqi rolled his eyes. If you're really capable, then spar with big brother Lin Xian. Let's see if he can slash you in half. Everyone was speechless. Although what Shen Xiaqi said might be true, his attitude was too arrogant. Compete with Lin Xian? How could this be? Didn't they see that the Duan family had been searching for him for so many days and still couldn't find him? Who the hell knew where he had gone? Moreover, no one believed that Lin Xian would come here. One had to know that the Duan family's patriarch was here. Lin Xian was definitely courting death by coming here. Most likely, the other party wouldn't be so foolish. Therefore, it was impossible to find Lin Xian to compete with him. Duan Yu naturally knew this as well, so he sneered. Humph, that Lin guy is just lucky that he didn't meet me. Otherwise, if he dares to come over, I can crush him with one finger. Ha! At the end of his speech, he laughed proudly. Is that so? I'm here. Can you crush me to death with one finger? However, at this moment, a cold voice rang out, like a sharp sword. It instantly cut through the entire valley. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Who was this? How dare he provoke the Duan family? Duan Yu's laughter also stopped abruptly. His face was flushed red, and his gaze was gloomy as he quickly scanned the surroundings. Who is it? Get out here. At this moment, even young Master Anil, young Master Qilin, and young Master Moonwalker frowned because they didn't realize where the voice came from. However, the Duan family's patriarch's face darkened. His gaze flickered with a cold light. On the side, the martial honorable's expression was even more ferocious because he naturally knew who the voice belonged to. Dean Xian was also stunned. His expression changed rapidly, and even his hands in his sleeves were clenched tightly. He didn't expect the other party to come. Oh no, I didn't expect things to come to this. Dean Xian sighed in his heart and quickly looked up at the sky. At the same time, the other kings also looked up at the sky. As kings, they were extremely powerful, far surpassing the warriors around them. Therefore, they could naturally tell that the voice came from the sky. When the surrounding warriors saw the kings raise their heads to look at the sky, they also raised their heads and looked over in confusion. In the next moment, their mouths were wide open. That was because a shadow suddenly appeared in the sky. It was like a dark cloud that covered the sky. Following that, a figure that was like a mountain descended from the sky quickly. Boom. Soon, the figure landed on the ground. Immediately, the entire valley shook violently as if there was an earthquake. In the center of the valley, countless dust clouds were stirred up, forming a shockwave that slapped the surroundings. Fortunately, the valley was protected by a formation. Otherwise, the entire valley would have collapsed. Everyone's expression changed drastically. They didn't expect the person to be so powerful, who was so bold as to cause trouble at the Duan family's banquet. For a moment, everyone stretched their necks and looked forward. As for the Duan family warriors, their expressions were even more ferocious as they looked toward the center. When the morning fog dissipated, a figure appeared in front of everyone. What? It's him. No way. Am I seeing things? It's actually him. He really came. How dare he come? Everyone's mouths were wide open in disbelief. That was because they saw a young figure standing in the center of the valley. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his gaze was like lightning. His entire body carried a sharp aura, as if he was an unstoppable sword god. Lin Xian. It's actually Lin Xian. In the next moment, countless people screamed. One had to know that Lin Xian was on the kill order of the Duan family's patriarch. It could be said that the situation was very dangerous. However, the other party had appeared so openly. Was he not courting death? Everyone's minds were blank. They couldn't understand what the other party wanted to do. At that moment, countless warriors looked at Lin Xian with puzzled expressions. When Dean Xian and the other Senma College warriors saw Lin Xian, their hearts sank. Oh no, he still came. Dean, what should we do? Should we attack? Many elders asked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to really come. That was probably the worst outcome. That was because the Duan family would not let Lin Xian go. Dean Xian also said in a low voice, "Don't worry, I'm here. He'll be fine." Hearing that, the Senmu College warriors breathed a sigh of relief, but their faces were still filled with worry. The Duan family warriors laughed sinisterly. They didn't expect the other party to be so stupid as to walk right into their trap. Ha ha ha! What an idiot! He actually dared to come. This kid is too arrogant, but he's dead meat this time. How dare he come to the Duan family? This time, he won't be able to leave. That's for sure. The Duan family has long become the House of Kings, and our strength has increased greatly. He dared to kill our warrior. This time, we'll tear him to pieces. The Duan family disciples' expressions were ferocious, and their voices were cold. Wu Zun suddenly stood up and pointed at Lin Xian. He said coldly, "Kid, you dared to kill my Chen-er. I'll make you wish you were dead." On the side, Duan Yu also snorted, "Kid, kneel down and accept your death." Chapter 1444. This kid is too arrogant, but he's dead meat this time. How dare he come to my Duan family? This time he won't be able to leave. That's for sure. My Duan family has long become the House of Kings, and our strength has greatly increased. He dared to kill my Duan family's warrior. This time we'll tear him to pieces. The Duan family's disciples looked ferocious, and their voices were cold. Wu Zun suddenly stood up, pointed at Lin Xian, and said coldly, "Kid, you dared to kill my Chen-er. I'll make you wish you were dead." On the side, Duan Yu also snorted coldly, "Kid, kneel down and accept your death." Lin Xian's appearance caused a sensation among the crowd. It couldn't be helped. It was too shocking. If Lin Xian appeared at this scene, he would definitely die. But even so, the other party still came. "How dare you? This is King Duan's banquet. It's incomparably sacred. How dare you cause trouble here? Back off." An elder from Divine Bird Palace stood up and suddenly shouted. Everyone in the world knew the relationship between Lin Xian and the Duan family, and it was irreconcilable. Now, Lin Xian dared to come to the Duan family's banquet. He was undoubtedly here to cause trouble. Divine Bird Palace's intention to stand up at this time was obvious, and that was to curry favor with the Duan family. "Who do you think you are? How dare you point fingers in front of me? Get lost." Lin Xian glanced at the elder of Divine Bird Palace and then unceremoniously shouted coldly, "You." Hearing Lin Xian's words, the elder of Divine Bird Palace trembled with anger. "Junior, you're too presumptuous. How dare you disrespect your elders?" Being scolded by a young man in his 20s in front of so many people, the elder of Divine Bird Palace was too ashamed to step down, and his face was livid with anger. "Whose elder are you? How dare you flaunt your seniority in front of me? You're courting death." Lin Xian snorted coldly, and his voice was like thunder with terrifying power. Suddenly, the elder of Divine Bird Palace trembled and almost fell down. Not only that, but his ears were bleeding, and his whole person became extremely weak. It was obvious that the sound from earlier had caused him to suffer internal injuries. Not only the elder of the Divine Bird Palace, but everyone felt their hearts tremble. The reason for that was because the energy and killing intent contained within that voice was simply too terrifying. It caused their hearts to palpitate in fear. It was just that Lin Xian deliberately targeted the elder of the Divine Bird Palace, so the other party was seriously injured. However, the others felt their scalps go numb. What kind of method was this? This was too terrifying. A single sound was enough to seriously injure an elder of the Divine Bird Palace. Heavens, this Lin Xian really lives up to his name. No wonder he was able to kill Prince Ling Feng. Yeah, isn't he a little too strong? Everyone was discussing animatedly. They were extremely shocked. On the other side, The Duan clan's ancestor's face became increasingly gloomy. He was naturally able to sense that this young man before him was extraordinary. If he was allowed to continue growing, then he would definitely become the number one enemy of their Duan clan. He would not allow such a danger to continue growing. Thinking of this, a hint of coldness appeared in the Duan clan's ancestor's eyes. He originally wanted to hunt down Lin Xian, but he could not find him. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would take the initiative to come knocking on his door today. God was really helping him. For a moment, all eyes were on Lin Xian. However, at this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from the sky again. Following that, several figures quickly descended. There's someone else. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to have helpers. The warriors of the Duan clan became even more nervous. If the other party brought any experts, they must counterattack immediately. However, in the next moment, they were stunned. The people who came were not what they had imagined. 3 figures appeared. One of them was a peerless woman dressed in purple. In her arms was a red little fox with 9 tails. Morong Qingcheng, seeing this woman in purple, everyone exclaimed in surprise. Naturally, they recognized her. This was the goddess whose name shook the continent. Her fame was no less than that of the 4 young masters of the Tianwu continent. The other person was a woman in a black robe and a golden mask. She was as cold as a knife. Her eyes were as sharp as a knife, carrying a biting, cold, murderous aura. She was Luo Bingshan. Not many people knew her, but no one doubted her strength. The other person was the Crimson Dragon. At this moment, it had already retracted its kingly aura. Furthermore, it did not transform into its divine dragon form. Therefore, it looked like a 1-meter-long snake. The appearance of these 3 caused quite a stir. In particular, the people of the Morong family heaved a sigh of relief. Naturally, they knew that Morong Qingcheng had left for 2 to 3 years. However, they did not know where she had gone. Now that they saw her return safely, they could finally put down the stone in their hearts. Patriarch Morong also smiled and nodded in satisfaction. Kid, this is my patriarch's banquet. Are you really going to ruin it? At this moment, an old man from the Duan clan stood up and shouted coldly. His voice was incomparably cold. Kid, this is not a place where you can behave atrociously. The guests this time are the 5 great kings. They are supreme existences. Hurry up and kneel on the ground and admit your sins. Otherwise, the Duan clan will not be polite. It was obvious that the Duan clan was using the great kings to suppress them. Hee, the Duan clan is so mighty, Lin Xian sneered. However, since this is a banquet in Tianwu continent, how can the palace of Ares be absent? As the young master of the palace of Ares, I brought a few friends to this banquet. Don't tell me the Duan clan doesn't welcome us? Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng looked around disdainfully. Palace of Ares? Hearing this, everyone had a strange expression. Did the palace of Ares still exist? However, although everyone thought so, no one said it out loud. Guests from afar. Men, give them a seat. At this moment, the patriarch of the Duan clan suddenly spoke. Although the Duan clan martial artists below were unwilling, they did not dare to go against the patriarch's words. Hence, they quickly arranged some seats for Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng to sit. Qingcheng, you guys go sit there first. Lin Xian turned around and said softly. After that, Morong Qingcheng, Luo Bing, and the Crimson Dragon went to the seats that had just been vacated. However, Lin Xian did not move and remained standing there. The cultivators of the Duan clan immediately frowned when they saw this scene. Kid, the seats have already been vacated for you. Why are you leaving? Are you trying to cause trouble? The patriarch of the Duan clan shouted again. His voice was like thunder that exploded in all directions, carrying a terrifying, killing intent. Those are the seats for the guests. It's not a problem for my friends to sit there. However, I'm different. I'm the young master of the Palace of Ares, and this is the territory of the Palace of Ares. You want me to sit in the guest seat? Are you out of your mind? Lin Xian shouted coldly and did not back down. His voice was as cold as a sharp sword. At the end of his sentence, a terrifying aura surged from his body. I'm from the Palace of Ares. Naturally, I have to sit in the main seat. Old dog of the Duan clan, get down here. A loud shout startled everyone. Chapter 1445. Old dog of the Duan family, get down here. His loud roar shook the entire area. As soon as this voice came out, everyone was dumbfounded. They felt their minds go blank, and they immediately exploded. They couldn't believe that a young man in his 20s dared to scold the Duan family's patriarch. Yes, Lin Xian was right. He was the young master of the Palace of Ares. And this was the Palace of Ares. He should have been sitting on the main seat as the owner. But so what? The Palace of Ares no longer belonged to the Lin family. It belonged to the Duan family. And the Duan family's patriarch had broken through and become an overlord. He had become the pinnacle of existence. Who cared if the Palace of Ares belonged to the Lin family or not? And now Lin Xian dared to scold an overlord? Was he not afraid of death? Therefore, Lin Xian's actions shocked everyone. In their opinion, he was simply courting death. In an instant, the entire valley fell into an extremely tense atmosphere. It was as if a bomb would explode at any time. How dare you? How dare you? Kid, you're courting death. Kneel down and accept your death. A group of people shouted angrily. These people were all martial artists of the Duan family. They were filled with murderous intent as they glared at Lin Xian. The other party actually dared to insult their clan's patriarch. He truly deserved to die 1,000 times over. The Duan family's patriarch's face darkened as he locked his cold gaze on Lin Xian. He could kill Lin Xian with just a flick of his finger, because he was an overlord. However, right at that moment, he felt another aura firmly locking onto him. That aura seemed to be even stronger than his. The Duan family's patriarch raised his eyebrows and glanced over. Din Xian, he snorted in his heart. That's right. The person staring at him was Senmucologist Din Xian. The Duan family's patriarch didn't doubt that Din Xian would do the same if he made a move. Therefore, he only stared coldly at Lin Xian without saying a word. However, that didn't mean that the people below wouldn't do the same. In the Duan family's patriarch's opinion, no matter how powerful Lin Xian was, he was just a young man. He didn't even need to do anything to such a person. The Duan clan's powerhouses had 100 ways to make him suffer a fate worse than death. Sure enough, in the next moment, the martial sovereign also stood up. His cold gaze landed on Lin Xian as he said in an icy voice, "You're that Lin Xian?" After a few years, this martial honorable had become even more powerful. He was like a giant beast in the deep abyss, and no one could see through him. However, the aura it emitted had long since surpassed that of a half-step king. It was the most terrifying existence beneath the kings. "Which one are you?" Lin Xian asked coldly when he saw the other party's aggressive aura. "You killed my son. Today, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death." "I will use your head as a sacrifice to my Chen-er." Wu Zun's voice was cold. "Duanchen? I don't know them. I've killed too many people. Do I have to remember the names of every Tom, Dick, and Harry?" Hearing this, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched. Lin Xian didn't know who Duanchen was, but everyone else did. Duanchen was Prince Lingfeng's real name. Now, The martial sovereign was going to stand up for his son, Prince Ling Feng. In fact, how could Lin Xian not know? Ever since the martial sovereign stood up, he knew that the other party was going to stand up for Prince Ling Feng. However, he was intentionally using words to attack the other party. When two parties were fighting, they naturally had to attack the other party's aura first. Winning without a fight was the best result. Little bastard, no matter how eloquent you are, today is the day you die. That's right. You killed my brother. Today, you will die kneeling. On the other side, Duan Yu also shouted coldly. He was wearing a golden battle armor, and his entire body was shining brightly under the sun. He looked like a god of war. Which one are you again? Lin Xian glanced at him and said indifferently, I'm talking to your Duan family's elders. Is there a place for you to interrupt? Quickly slap him. Arrogant, he was too arrogant. Everyone's scalps went numb. They couldn't believe it. After all, Duan Yu was very powerful. He was even qualified to be called Tianwu Prince. However, he was being taught a lesson by Lin Xian. It was like an elder teaching a junior a lesson. Wasn't this a slap to the Duan family's face? You, die, brat, I'll kill you. As expected, when he heard that, Duan Yu immediately flew into a rage. He strode forward like a mad lion. With every step he took, the entire ground shook. A terrifying golden aura surged out from his body. He was like a god of death. In an instant, he was beside Lin Xian. What? You want to fight? Lin Xian sneered with his hands behind his back. He didn't care at all. Seeing the scene, everyone became nervous. They didn't expect something like this to happen just as the banquet started. If they didn't kill Lin Xian, the Duan family's banquet wouldn't be able to continue. As expected, the Duan family had the same idea, so they didn't stop him. At Senma College, Dean Xian didn't make a move either. Dean Xian's main goal was to keep an eye on the Duan family's patriarch. Moreover, he believed that with Lin Xian's strength, he should be able to handle this situation. As for Murong Qingcheng and the others, they were even more relieved. One had to know that Lin Xian had killed the leader of the Black Dragon sect in the Tiannan region. That was a true legend, not to mention Duan Yu in front of them. Therefore, Murong Qingcheng, Falling Ice Mountain, and Crimson Dragon were all carefully sipping their spiritual tea. They looked like they were going to watch a good show. Brat, you're too arrogant. I don't know what tricks you used to harm my brother, but with your strength, I can kill you with one slap. Duan Yu's voice was ferocious. If you kneel down and apologize to the Duan family, now, I'll leave you with an intact corpse. You talk too much. If you want to fight, let's fight. Lin Xian snorted. Suddenly, a fierce aura rose from his body like a peerless divine sword. Even in the sky, countless gusts of wind danced wildly. There were faint sounds of thunder all around. This aura was too terrifying. It was far beyond the others. It had reached the peak of the younger generation. Even young Master Anil and the others were watching with rapt attention. They also wanted to know how strong Lin Xian was to be able to kill Prince Ling Feng. Was it true strength, or was it a trick? Among them, young Master Anil waved his folding fan and nodded slightly. Not bad, not bad. Judging from this aura, he's not weaker than us. Young Master Moonwalker did not speak. He only nodded slightly. On the other hand, young Master Qilin snorted disdainfully. Comparable to us? Him? What a joke. I don't know what tricks this brat used to harm Prince Ling Feng. How can he be compared to us? What a joke. Just watch. We don't even need to do anything. Duan Yu alone can kill this brat. In the Shun family, Shun Jingqiu and Shun Xiaqi clenched their fists nervously. This was especially true for Shun Jingqiu, who stared at Lin Xian without blinking. She was too happy. She did not expect Lin Xian to really come. However, She was also very nervous. She was worried about Lin Xian's safety. You want to fight? All right, brat, I'll fulfill your wish. However, our battle is not that simple. Duan Yu sneered and looked at Wu Zun. Chapter 1446. You want to fight? All right, kid, I'll grant you your wish. However, our battle won't be that simple. Duan Yu sneered and looked at Wu Zun. Wu Zun sat down again and nodded. Sure. Thank you, father. Duan Yu was elated. He waved his hand, and a light flashed on the other side of the valley. An array quickly formed. Then 7 to 8 old figures appeared. They were all old men. They were injured all over and looked dispirited. Their bodies were covered in blood. They were tied up by countless divine ropes and hung in midair. Everyone was shocked when they saw these figures. Those elders of the immortal martial academy all stood up, their eyes fixed on the scene before them. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression instantly turned ice cold. His eyes were filled with blood-red, murderous intent. The old figures in front of him were the 9th elder, 10th elder, and a few other elders of the god of War Palace. They were worried about Lin Xian and secretly came out to search for him. They did not expect to be discovered and captured by the Duan family. Then they were brought here and tortured. Now they were taken out in front of everyone and prepared to be slaughtered. The 9th elder and the rest also saw Lin Xian and trembled. Young master, leave quickly, leave quickly. The Duan family patriarch has already become a challenger. Leave quickly. Yes, young master. Don't worry about us. Leave quickly. Dean Xian will take you away. The 10th elder and the rest shouted frantically. They did not expect Lin Xian to come. This was definitely the worst news. The Duan family was an inescapable net. Once they came, they would not be able to leave. Lin Xian clenched his fists and his body trembled. He took a deep breath and tried to control his murderous intent. 9th elder, 10th elder, seniors of the God of War Palace, don't worry. I will definitely let you leave safely. Not only that, I will make those who hurt you pay back 100 times over. With that, Lin Xian's cold gaze swept across the Duan family. Instantly, the warriors of the Duan family trembled and felt a chill in their hearts, because the other party's gaze was too terrifying, as if he was a god of death. However, the ancestor of the Duan clan, the martial sovereign, Duan Yu and the others were all sneering. Among them, Duan Yu even coldly said, "Brat, do you want to save them? Sure, compete with me. However, I have something to tell you. Every 3 moves, I will kill 1 person. There are a total of 7 people here. In other words, we only have 21 exchanges. If you win in 3 moves, I will release all of them. And if you are unable to defeat me within 21 moves, then all of them will die. Remember, you're the one who killed them." Duan Yu stared at Lin Xian and laughed maniacally. As for the surrounding martial artists, they felt a chill in their hearts. Killing 1 person every 3 moves, this Duan clan was too ruthless. One had to know that Duan Yu was on the same level as young Master Tianwu. No matter how strong this Lin Xian was, how could he defeat his opponent in 20 moves? As for winning in 3 moves, that was even more impossible. In other words, all the elders of the Palace of War Gods had to die. Killing 1 person in 3 moves was indeed ruthless. It looked like the Duan clan was determined to kill all the elders of the Palace of War Gods. Not only that, but Lin Xian would also not be able to escape in the end. Patriarch Murong remained silent on his high seat. His fingers tapped lightly in the air as a satisfied smile appeared on his face. The martial supremacy also nodded slightly. Indeed, In his opinion, with Duan Yu's strength, the outcome of the battle would not be decided without at least 100 moves. By then, all the people from the Palace of War Gods would have been killed. However, the people from Senma College could no longer sit still. One of their goals this time was to rescue the ninth elder and the others. Now that they saw those people being dragged out in front of everyone, they were furious. Dean Xian's eyes were also dark. He had already decided to find a suitable time to strike. At that moment, Lin Xian said in a low voice, "All right, I agree to your request. Hurry up and die." Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, and there was no trace of fear in it. At that moment, he was like a god of war. The aura he exuded made everyone's hearts tremble. He agreed. How is that possible? Does he think that he can finish off Duan Yu in less than 20 moves? He's crazy. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. However, when they saw the confident expression on Lin Xian's face, their hearts trembled. What was with that confident smile of hers? Did he have some secret technique? Everyone was confused. However, Duan Yu sneered, "Kid, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." In the distance, the martial artists from the Duan family also shouted coldly, "Brother, you kill him. Kill this kid. Avenge our Duan family. Idiot kid, he dares to attack Duan Yu. He doesn't know what's good for him. Just you wait. Today will be his burial ground." Everyone sneered. Duan Yu also took a step forward. The golden armor on his body emitted a dazzling light. He was like a golden god of war, exuding an unparalleled power. At that moment, Duan Yu's gaze was piercingly cold. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his entire body carried a surging aura. He raised his arrogant head and looked ahead. "Kid, I'll let you know my true strength." Universe-suppressing fist. In the next moment, Duan Yu roared. The golden armor on his body flickered with incomparable light. Then he punched out. The terrifying fist directly shattered the void. This punch was simply too terrifying. It carried an unparalleled amount of power. Countless golden lights flickered. There were a total of 49 golden lights, and each of them transformed into a sharp sword. The 49 sharp swords accompanied the fist and quickly enveloped Lin Xian. Seeing the scene, everyone's heart beat wildly. Many people revealed shocked expressions. This power is too terrifying. He's already reached the half-step king realm. No way? Is this Duan Yu so powerful? It seems like we've underestimated him before. This is the universe-suppressing fist. In Duan Yu's hands, it's even more terrifying. Why do I feel that he's already surpassed Prince Ling Feng? No wonder the Duan family wants him to be the new Prince Tianwu. One after another, cries of surprise sounded. It could be said that Duan Yu's power had indeed shocked everyone. Even Prince Anil and the other two frowned. In truth, this power was not weaker than theirs. It's over. Lin Xian definitely won't be able to take down his opponent in a short period of time. He might even lose. It seemed that the elders of the Palace of Gods of War were dead for sure. At this moment, everyone had the same thought. This is the first move. Die for me. At the front, Duan Yu coldly snorted, carrying an incomparably resplendent light, and the 49 golden swords, he quickly blasted forward. Lin Xian was as unmoving as a mountain. His gaze was cold like a killing god, but he had no intention of making a move. Chapter 1447. That's the first move. Die. In front of him, Duan Yu snorted coldly. With a bright light and the 49 golden swords, he charged forward quickly. Lin Xian was as still as a mountain. His eyes were cold like the god of death. He had no intention of making a move. What? He didn't make a move? What is he doing? Humph. This Lin guy must be scared out of his wits. Sure enough, he was a piece of trash. He must have used despicable means to kill Prince Ling Feng. Now that they were in public, he was no match for Duan Yu. Go. Kill him. Kill this kid. The Duan family disciples roared, crazily. A cold smile appeared on the corners of Duan Yu's mouth when she saw this scene. Humph, he is indeed a piece of trash. Just as he had guessed, Duan Yu did not have any real skills. Thinking of this, he was even more pleased. The power in his hand increased by 30%, turning into a golden dragon that charged forward quickly. However, facing such a terrifying fist and the 49 golden swords, Lin Xian only stretched out his palm and grabbed forward. Look, he made a move. What? He wants to grab the golden swords with his bare hands? Oh my God, what is he doing? He must be crazy. It's over. That kid must be crazy. He dares to take the Qianqun fist head on. Doesn't he know how powerful the Qianqun fist is? At this moment, everyone exclaimed. Many people shook their heads and sighed, thinking that Lin Xian was too blind. Among them, Mr. Annel and Mr. Moonwalker frowned. Mr. Qilin sneered disdainfully. He is indeed a piece of trash. When Duan Yu saw Duan Yu grabbing his fist with his bare hands, his lips curled into a mocking smile. What an idiot! My Qianqun ring is extremely terrifying. My body is no weaker than an earth-rank martial art. How dare you grab it with your bare hands? Today, I will break your palm. Boom. In the next moment, a low sound came from the front. It was like a muffled thunder shaking everyone's body. However, the earth-shattering explosion that was expected did not happen. There was no blood, no screams, only a low sound. Then there was nothing else. What happened? Everyone was puzzled and stretched their necks to look ahead. Then their jaws dropped as if they had seen a ghost, because in front of him, Lin Xian was still as immovable as a mountain, standing with his hands behind his back. At this moment, he stretched out a hand and firmly grasped the golden fist. The surrounding 49 sharp swords seemed to have been nailed into the void, unable to slash down at all. Caught? How is this possible? Everyone widened their eyes and rubbed their eyes. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Duan Yu's face was also filled with shock, and his mind went blank. He couldn't believe it. How could his opponent catch his Qianqun fist? No, that's impossible. This isn't real. Damn it, how did you do it? He roared crazily and wanted to withdraw his fist, but he found that his opponent's palm was like a cage, tightly holding his fist. He couldn't move it at all. Lin Xian's eyes were as cold as the sword of a god. He stared at Duan Yu and coldly said, "First move." What? Duan Yu was stunned, and so was everyone else. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be checking the moves. Could it be that he really wanted to save the palace of gods of war elders? However, before anyone could react, Duan Yu let out a blood-curdling scream. Lin Xian clenched his fist, and instantly, the 49 golden swords surrounding him were broken in half. As if they were sliced apart by a divine weapon, they shattered into pieces and fell to the ground. Not only that, Duan Yu's entire arm was broken, revealing the white bone underneath. Duan Yu's miserable scream was heard, and his entire face became distorted. Horrifying sweat dripped down his face. However, it wasn't over yet. In the next moment, Lin Xian lifted his leg and kicked Duan Yu's stomach, causing him to kneel on the ground and vomit blood. Second move. Lin Xian continued to speak coldly. Everyone's mind went blank as they stood rooted to the ground. What's going on? What's going on? 2 moves. Only 2 moves. The powerful Duan Yu was defeated. 2 moves, that was Duan Yu. He was a genius who was about to become young Master Tianwu. How could he be defeated so easily? At this moment, everyone couldn't believe it. That's impossible. Could it be an illusion? Damn it, why is Lin Xian so powerful? Is he really defeated? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. At this moment, young Master Anil, young Master Moonwalker, and Prince Ling Feng couldn't remain calm. They stood up abruptly and stared at the voice in front of them with sharp eyes. One had to know that Duan Yu was about to become young Master Tianwu. His strength wasn't much weaker than theirs. Even if they were to attack, they wouldn't be able to defeat him within 20 moves. But now, Duan Yu was defeated in 2 moves. How was that possible? Didn't this mean that Lin Xian's strength was even greater than theirs? Impossible. That's impossible. I don't believe it. Young Master Qilin shook his head frantically. Damn it. This kid must have used some secret technique or consumed some elixir. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to be so powerful. He was extremely shocked. Previously, he was disdainful and thought that Lin Xian couldn't defeat Duan Yu. But now, in just 2 moves, Duan Yu was defeated and even lost an arm. The scene was too shocking. It was like a sudden clap of thunder that stunned him. The Duan family was even more shocked. Even Wu Zun and the old ancestor of the Duan family were stunned. That was because they knew Duan Yu's strength. He wasn't much weaker than young Master Anil and the rest. That was why they had the confidence to promote Duan Yu as the new young Master Tianwu. And this time, the competition between Duan Yu and Lin Xian was approved by them. They wanted to use this competition to clear Duan Yu's name. But who knew that such a change would happen? In an instant, everyone in the valley was stunned. In the center of the valley, Duan Yu knelt on the ground and vomited blood. He was extremely shocked, and his mind was blank. He couldn't understand why his opponent was so powerful. It was completely beyond his expectations. Impossible. This is impossible. He wouldn't believe it even if he died because, in his expectations, the one who knelt down and begged for mercy should be Lin Xian. But now, why was it him? He shouted crazily, and the golden armor on his body flickered. He exploded with a powerful force and wanted to counterattack. But in the next moment, he was welcomed by a long leg. Bang! A low sound echoed in the valley. Lin Xian raised his leg and stomped Duan Yu's head into the mud. You've lost in the 3rd move. A cold voice sounded. Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying aura like a giant abyss beast that wanted to devour people. From the beginning to the end, he didn't display any dazzling martial skills, and his body didn't emit any radiant light. Even his feet didn't move from the original spot. However, even with that being the case, he still managed to easily defeat Duan Yu. In fact, he had even stomped his opponent's head into the ground. Chapter 1448. From the beginning to the end, Lin Xian did not display any dazzling martial skills, nor did his body emit any resplendent light. In fact, he did not even move his feet from the spot. Even so, he still defeated Duan Yu with ease. Now, he had even stepped on Duan Yu's head into the ground. This scene truly shocked everyone. It took a long time for the Duan clan's warriors to react. Immediately, they roared crazily. Each and every one of them looked incomparably ferocious, as if they were demons. They roared and charged forward. Kid, you're courting death. Hurry up and let go of Duan Yu, or I'll make you wish you were dead. Kneel down and accept your death. After a series of cold shouts, the 5 elders quickly rushed out like lightning and charged towards Lin Xian. They were mad. They were really mad. Duan Yu was the hope of the younger generation of the Duan clan, and they had planned to push him to the position of young Master Tianwu. However, they did not expect Duan Yu to be defeated so thoroughly at such an important time. Not only that, even his head had been stomped into the ground. This was no longer a slap. to the Duan clan's face, but a kick to their face. Therefore, the 5 elders could not stand it at all. They roared and charged forward quickly. The 5 of them had extremely powerful auras and had reached the peak of the 9th heaven of the Martial Highness realm. At this moment, the 5 of them were like gods when they joined forces, and their powerful auras shook the surroundings. Everyone cried out in alarm, because when these 5 elders joined hands, they were really too powerful. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on everyone's hearts, making it difficult for them to breathe. Boom, boom, boom. The void trembled as 5 giant palms probed and quickly grabbed at Lin Xian as if they were going to crush him. The 5 palms covered the sky and emitted a resplendent light that completely covered the sky. However, Lin Xian still stood with his hands behind his back and his foot on Duan Yu's head as he looked around disdainfully. At the next moment, he suddenly turned his head and looked behind him as he shouted coldly, "Get lost!" This voice was like a clap of thunder, turning into countless solid light waves that blasted upwards. Bam, bam, bam. At the next moment, the 5 giant palms in the sky exploded, turning into countless streams of qi that scattered in all directions. What? It broke? How is that possible? Everyone was shocked, not daring to believe it. Those were 5 elders at the peak of the 9th rank. If they joined forces, even young Master Tianwu would have to take them seriously. However, at this moment, his attack was actually shattered so easily. This Lin Xian was just too strong. At this moment, everyone was extremely shocked. They realized that Lin Xian's strength was truly unfathomable. As for the 5 elders, their expressions changed enormously. They did not expect the other party to be so powerful. With just a voice, he was able to shatter their attacks. Damn it, this kid is too strange. His strength is beyond our expectations. Hurry up and kill him with all your might. The 5 of them looked at each other and roared. The spiritual energy in their bodies burned rapidly, forming countless rays of light that shone in all directions like the sun. Lin Xian coldly snorted, his gaze like lightning. Stubborn fools, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. In the next moment, he punched out. The raging dragon will in his body circulated, and boundless qi and blood surged, letting out the roar of a dragon. With a punch, heaven and earth shook as if a huge dragon was roaring and rushing out. Explode. This punch was like the Buddha's divine fist, carrying an incomparably terrifying power as it blasted forward. In the next moment, the bodies of the 5 Duan family elders exploded, turning into 5 clouds of blood mist that floated in the air. What? They died just like that. How is this possible? At this moment, everyone stood up, unable to believe it. Those were 5 at the peak of the 9th rank. When they joined forces, their strength was extremely powerful. However, they were easily killed just like that. Young Master Anil, young Master Moonwalker, and young Master Qilin's expressions also changed, their expressions extremely solemn. Killing 5 at the peak of the 9th rank with 1 punch was probably something they could not do. Damn it, just what cultivation level has this kid reached? How can he be so terrifying? Could it be that he has surpassed the half-step king realms? At this moment, the 3 of them no longer had their previous calmness, especially young Master Qilin. His face was terrifyingly gloomy. Thinking back to his previous attitude, he did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. But now, it seemed that the other party's strength had completely surpassed his. This was unacceptable to him, who had always been arrogant. The Duan family's patriarch's face was gloomy, his eyes cold, because the strength of the young man below was indeed beyond his expectations. However, he had already made up his mind that no matter what happened today, he would completely eradicate the other party to prevent future troubles. Marshal Revered stood up all of a sudden, a black wind fluttering, and a murderous aura surged. He took a deep breath, like a god of war looking down at the front, and said coldly, "Kid, take your foot off and let Duanya go." He was indeed shocked that the other party could kill 5 at the peak of the 9th rank with one punch, which showed that his strength was extremely powerful. It was even possible that he had surpassed the half-step king realm. This made his heart overflow with killing intent, but the other party was still stepping on Duanyu, so he could only endure. Only by freeing Duanyu could he kill the other party. At this moment, several elders of the Divine Bird Palace also shouted coldly, "Kid, quickly let go of young Master Duanyu, or there will be no way for you to live. Young man, I hope you don't make a mistake." On the other side, several elders of the Shin family also stood up and shouted coldly. In addition, a few 6th-rank sects and families also shouted coldly. The reason was simple. Although Lin Xian had shown great strength, so what? He was not a king after all. And the Duan family patriarch was a real king. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, he could not defeat him. So in the end, the Duan family was the winner. Now, they naturally had to stand on the Duan family's side. Lin Xian stepped on Duanyu's head and sneered. "What? Until now, you still have a high and mighty attitude? Do you really think you can control everything? I will let you know that the strength you are so proud of is laughable in my eyes. Kid, quickly let go of you, or I will kill all the elders of the Palace of War. You won't be able to save any of them. Are you threatening me?" Lin Xian's eyes darkened. Then a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "I hate it when people threaten me." The next moment, he exerted force on the sole of his foot and stomped down. Puchi! Suddenly, Duanyu's head split apart like a watermelon. What? He made a move. He actually made a move. How dare he make a move? The crowd could not believe it. The elders of the Shun family and Divine Bird Palace also opened their mouths wide and froze on the spot. They did not expect that the other party would really dare to make a move. Wu Zun roared with a ferocious expression. The other elders of the Duan family also roared crazily. Kid, I'm going to kill you. Kill you. Do it. Kill those old fellows from the Palace of War Gods for me. Leave none alive. I will tear them into pieces." Wu Zun roared crazily. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.